got the Yeah, we got the energy.
Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey everybody, here we are. Hope you enjoyed the nice weekend. It was Father's Day. It was Juneteenth yesterday. And so I hope everybody enjoyed the, not everybody had a 3-day weekend.
Here's
but
what I got
did,
for Father's Day.
What'd you get? Honey,
do you have anything to say before? I think I crinkled the shirt a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have anything to say before football season
Hey,
starts?
that's such a.
Your wife got you that?
Wife and kids, yeah.
Okay.
That's a fact. When football season starts, you just be like, man,
that's it. I'm locked
don't
in.
expect no conversations.
Yep.
Like,
It used to be NBA season for me. It's like, you got anything to say, you got anything to do, let's get it in before October, because from October to June, I am unavailable.
mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be telling me about how your day went. No one cares.
Did you do anything exciting for Father's Day?
Yeah, we went to the pool, had my mom and my in-laws over, low-key day. We kept it real chill. It was
All
nice.
right. Anybody else? We got nobody else. Oh, Earl's dad. He back there. Is Earl back there, or is he goes wherever he goes?
Earl's here.
Earl's here.
Earl, did you do anything exciting for Father's Day?
Spent some time with my cousin. Shout out to my cousin Terry, who got married. Had his wedding reception Saturday. Spent some time with my children. It was a great time.
By the way, secretly, I hope, I got to call Earl out because, he's playing all nice guy right now. But Terry, no offense, but Earl said he's predicting your divorce within a year. That's what he said to me before the show.
What is he? What is he? G. Bush or something? What do you mean?
Here's another thing, boy.
Yeah.
I'm officiating my first wedding in September.
Oh. Did you get the accreditation already?
I'm doing it now.
It's very easy. I got that. And all right, well, if you need any tips, let me know. I am a professional.
I don't know how I feel
Professional
about that.
preacher.
I don't know how I feel
don't know
about
how I
that
feel
neither.
about that.
I'm not renewing my values.
Let me tell you something. This is unusual for me, but I'm gonna get very cocky right here.
Oh.
Very unusual for me.
Yeah.
Really, Jason?
Yeah.
Those who attended the wedding of Jonathan and Elise Peterson, I had half the wedding, I would say, came up to me and said, that was the best officiating wedding, best wedding I've ever been to in my life.
Because you was remixing up there.
I killed it.
You cursed 3 times.
No, I didn't curse.
You called the bridesmaids all losers for not being in shape.
That would have all been funny, but no, I did, and I didn't curse. Cursing is my thing, but I did not curse. I don't think I cursed at all.
Did you wear a suit?
Yeah, I think I wore a tux.
You had a tux on?
Tux, wow.
I can't remember if I had a tux or just a regular suit, but I was dressed up appropriately for a wedding.
I feel like no offense, for
Yeah.
marriage, it should be like someone with some credibility
Like I
standing up there.
Let me tell you something. I have more credibility than most religious leaders. I'll tell you that. No doubt
you
about
know
it. At
what
least
I
I keep
mean.
it real and I'm honest about things.
What does this mean? You're clergy. If you can marry
I am
somebody,
technically clergy. Yes, I'm a reverend.
A reverend of the what?
I am a reverend from the
Universal Church of Life,
Hey,
or
something
whatever
like
crap
that.
and
Yeah.
we want to bring in the
I've been accredited by the great state of Ohio.
Mount Olive
Proof that
Community
anyone
Baptist
can be-
Church, Second Episcopalian.
And by the
Olive.
way,
Pastor
if you want me
Pearl
to
in the
marry
building.
you, I'm in. A lot of money though. I spent a lot of time preparing for Jonathan's wedding.
Well, he was a friend. Like,
He was a
close
friend, so I did it for free.
Yeah.
And of course, I love him and I
Yeah.
love his wife.
Yeah.
But and I had a great time, and I'm
no,
glad it was really
you-
special
you-
for them.
You did that for free, bro?
Of course, he's a good friend.
He had a budget. What are you talking about?
I would never even consider taking money, but I did spend a ton. I spent a lot of time preparing for that wedding.
Did he have alcohol there?
Yeah, but
But
I
you don't drink.
No.
Did you get a special meal of any sort?
I
Just
mean,
what everybody.
I got the same food everybody else got. It was delicious.
You know what? What Jonathan should have did, and I'll tell him when I see him.
Yeah.
He should have put you on the groomsmen's list with the gift.
He did. He did give me a gift.
There you go. Well,
gave me a gift.
that's the way to work
He
it
gave
out.
me actually a really nice gift. It was like baseball related. It was pretty cool.
I was losing my faith in white people for a second. I was losing my faith. Like,
Oh,
hold
don't
on.
ever do that, Jason.
Young cats, it'd be certain etiquette.
Oh, my
it'd be
God.
certain things. Like, listen, like people don't understand. Let you be in a bar and you going around and somebody buy a round and then they be looking around like, listen, it is an unwritten rule. You know what it is. Don't be getting lost. Don't be running outside to the bathroom.
When it's your
that
turn?
next round is
Yeah.
on your pocketbook. You might as well
Yeah.
get that credit card out right now. And don't be getting, it's equal or lesser value. Do not be out here. If you got a shot, you have a shot coming up.
Trading a shot for a
With
Michelob
some
Ultra.
Speaking of appropriate etiquette, what do you do
No.
when you go to a restaurant and you're picking up food to go? Do you tip? Do you tip less?
Tipping is out of control in this country.
It
It's
is.
friggin' nuts.
I all depends on how
I
I'm
had this
feeling.
conversation yesterday.
If I had to go pick it up and I had to walk in and I had to get it out of the car, then I had to swipe my stuff and possibly stand in line because other people's in front of me, no, I'm not giving you a tip. You
I
didn't
give
really
a
do
tip
nothing.
because I feel like if I don't, they're going to say, well, Adam the Bull came in here and he didn't tip.
I don't care about that. I don't care.
I care about it. I think it's ridiculous. Now, with a waiter or waitress, those people are, making slave wages, basically. They get paid nothing.
Yeah.
And every time by the way, I went into a restaurant for Father's Day, and the service was terrible. I'm not going to say what restaurant it was. The service was terrible, and somebody said, well, they're understaffed. Well, I'm going to assume that if you're understaffed at a restaurant, it's because you pay like shit. You know what? Pay the waiters and waitresses a real salary, and they'll come work for you.
And then the food prices will double. Like it's just a catch-22. Like you're gonna pay for
whatever.
it.
That's
You're gonna pay.
bullshit.
You're either gonna pay for it on the menu or in the tip. One or the other. You're gonna.
I
pay
give
for
good
It.
with a waiter, waitress. I give good tips.
Yeah, I do
'cause that's
too.
the-
I'm a good tipper.
Yeah.
I'm a really good tipper.
But when I go to pick it up, I feel like I shouldn't have to
I
tip,
agree.
but I do.
I mean, I took AJ to Columbus last week.
Yeah.
And we went to like a Grater's. And there was she wanted to make sure that I saw that there was a place to tip. I'm like,
know.
you scooped one scoop of ice cream and put it in a cone.
I know.
You did your job.
I know. Whenever I go to Mitchell's, I give a tip.
No, I'm done. I'm done with it.
He's
I'm
done.
done.
You know.
No, I'm actually with Jason. And now Mitchell's or an ice cream place may be a little different because there's actually an act of the person doing something.
They did
that
their
need to
job.
do. But like at convenience stores, I went and I bought like snacks, like a bag of chips and salsa the day at the convenience store.
No, I don't
paid on
give
the
tips at
square,
convenience
and I was like,
stores.
"Do you want to leave a tip? A tip for what?" The cashier literally, and this is not a they did literally nothing.
Yeah.
I got the chips, I got the salsa,
Yeah.
I paid, I tapped.
Now,
You want a 15% tip for what?
I'm not going that far. I don't tip in the
Now,
grocery store.
I don't know if Earl feel this way, but here's the thing. So, like, this may seem crazy, but I'm going to give y'all a perspective.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I go to a restaurant and I take inventory and be looking around. I'm like, man, I'm the only black person here. You be like, this is a decent restaurant, right? So I always automatically come in with this stigma being like, I got a tip for my whole culture. I don't.
The racist.
The
whole race is
the
relying
whole
on your tip.
It's on my tip. So that might be the last and first time I ever seen a black person in that spot. And I don't want them saying, man, I ran across this dude, he didn't tip, so I be tipping for all the people that feel like it's okay to just leave your
That's
change.
a lot of pressure right there.
That is a lot of pressure.
Don't leave your change on the table and think that's a tip. I be over tipping. People like, bro, the
So
bill was only $12.
You feel the same way, Earl?
I'll say that's part of it because
Really?
you don't know who you run across. Let's just be honest. There's some people who are racist, some people are not. And you don't want to do anything that's going to fit that stereotype or that status quo of you. But a few things for me when it comes to tips, if a waiter or waitress walks up and they introduce themselves and they tell me their name, okay, now I'm finna over tip you. If you are attentive to me without me having to call you over to my table, then I'm gonna make sure I tip you. But I'm the same way. Like I just gotta make sure I'm handling my business.
Right? Yeah, it's one of them things. Like, and let me know if you feel that way. I'm just saying, it just makes me. I'd be like, yo, I have to over tip.
Do you ever do the roundup like at Dick's? Roundup for our playground equipment.
Yep.
I think it's a scam.
I
don't
get
do
stuck.
it.
Every time I go to Taco Bell, they're like, round up for the school kids.
Nope.
I always say
Nope.
yes.
I say no.
I'm like, oh,
Nope.
okay.
Everybody.
It's Rocky River. The kids have plenty of money. Those
Right?
little bastards.
No, I say no. Real quick, while we're doing
Yeah.
funny, I got to tell you this is real funny.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were not home.
Yeah.
And a salesman, door-to-door salesman, came to the door.
People still do that, huh?
Yeah, and he was trying to, and my oldest was home, and he was trying to sell, he was dogging my Ring camera, and he was trying to sell
they
something.
came to your spot too?
Yeah.
They came to my
So
Go
they
ahead, tell the
came-
story.
So I'm watching on the Ring camera while he's dogging the Ring camera and saying, this is nice, but it can't do this or it can't do that. And I like hit the microphone. I think we were at dinner, and I said, hey, our Ring is just fine. And
Tell them to F off?
Yeah, well, basically, and my wife's like, oh, you have just no tact whatsoever. You are just mean to everyone. I'm like, but obviously, look at our this kid is not buying this house that we're living in. He has no control to
Yeah,
make
I know,
any
that's
sort of
pretty
decision.
stupid.
Why are you trying to sell him? He's 21.
The dude-
What are you trying to sell him?
It's
so I basically
crazy.
told him to F off and get
Yeah,
off my porch.
That's crazy, Jason. He came in and was disrespecting his ring, and I'm just like,
While I'm watching on the Ring.
I'm just in there. He's like, yeah, your ring is cool, but let me show you this packages, and I could get you together on this ADT. You don't got the new. I said, bro, do you understand that I might be one of the only black people that's gonna pay for $30 a month for this ring? You gonna tell me you'll upgrade me to $79.99? No, listen, no, I'm not. You lucky. Matter of fact, in 3 weeks, this about to be off.
Yeah, right.
Couple weeks, that ring gonna be out of here.
All right, guys. We've been having some fun. We're going to continue to have some fun, but we're going to switch it up, talk some sports. Later, we've got a few different interesting basketball topics to get to, including potential trades involving Jarrett Allen. And Mike has created a new game. I don't know if it's a game or just a something, where he's going to rank based on Bill Simmons' list of – Bill Simmons does the list where he ranks all the NBA players in terms of their trade value. Not who's the best player, but it's 1 through whatever in terms of who's got the most trade value and so forth. Mike's going to do a version for Cleveland athletes, for Cavs, Guardians, and Browns, all in one list. Who would get the biggest return in a trade of any of the Cleveland players? I think it's debate. I don't know if there's even a clear number one. Maybe there is. Maybe you guys think there is. We'll see if Mike thinks there is. That's coming up a little bit later. But we begin with the Guardians, Mike.
We do, and two significant breakthroughs this weekend in terms of the Guardians. We're going to split these.
I was sending it to you because I thought you had a read, but you know.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Bull. And we do have a read today, and our first read is colleague. Nope, not colleague. Yeah, screw reads. You know what? Screw it.
All right, let's pass
We'll
on
do
the
reads
reads.
later. You threw me off my game. Two big breakthroughs.
Sorry.
Let's start with Bo Naylor. We're talking McKenzie next. But Bo Naylor did make his debut this
Yeah.
weekend for the Guardians. Is still yet to get a hit, but the bats did wake up.
Yeah, I think he's got about 14, 15 at bats going back to last year. Did get on base with a walk. He got caught. First of all, it was odd. It was not a great weekend for the Guardians. It's not been a great week after they'd been playing better. They lost 4-6 on the road trip out west. Lost 2-3 to San Diego. Salvaged the final game. Lost 2-3 to Arizona. Salvaged the final game on Sunday before yesterday off, and now they come home to play, as we all know, a terrible Oakland team who had their nice week where they had a winning streak, and now they're back to losing again. A couple of things that was odd from this weekend. They finally DFA Mike Zunino, which we've been talking about. I've been screaming about for a couple of weeks. But they didn't have Bo Naylor ready to be in the big leagues. Like, that is very confusing. I don't understand why you – obviously, it wasn't a big deal, but why would you ever play a man down? They had to know that unless something happened with Zunino just out of the blue and they weren't going to do it and they just, in the last minute, like, we got to get rid of him. That seems unusual, though. I don't understand why they didn't have Bo Naylor ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they needed the extra roster spot for the spot start for Tukey, but I guess that wasn't necessarily the case.
No, they went without a 26th man for one day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bo Naylor, I said 100 times, he's not going to save the season. Should this have been done a month ago? Yeah, probably. But I don't know that Bo Naylor's the difference in winning and losing this division.
No.
But it is nice to get him up here at least, give him a chance, see what he's got. We saw Zunino. We saw there was nothing there.
Yeah.
They were as patient as they could with him. It hurts an organization like this to flush $6 million. That's a hit. But right now it's sort of baked into the cake, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So let's see what he can do.
More shocking on June 20th. These are both shocking things that don't often happen in baseball, that are both happening today on June 20th, or at this point. That the American League Central leader, the Minnesota Twins, are under 500.
That's unbelievable.
Or that Luis Ariz of the Miami Marlins is hitting 400.
That's got to be
That's crazy.
That comes around once and forever.
And
Both those things are. I mean, I don't know. When's the last time a first place team was under 500 this late in the season?
He's had like 4 or 5 hit games or something like that in 1 month.
I don't know if it's 1 month, but
I heard the stat that said that he basically, if he does it again, he'll have the record for most 5 hit games.
he'd be tied with like 3 other guys.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like Ichiro and Ted Williams or whatever.
I think what's most incredible about what Ariz is doing is the fact that he just changed leagues. These are all new pitchers.
Yeah.
And so many times we talk about it when a guy changes leagues, there's an adjustment period. And, you know, that first year, a lot of times their numbers dip a little bit because they got to figure out all new pitching.
Right.
He has not missed it.
I'm rooting for him. I mean, the last batter to hit over 380 was Larry Walker, I think, in 99 or 2000, 2001. Then Gwynn was the last guy to hit over 390. Tony Gwynn, I think, finished 3 hits shy of hitting 400, maybe 4 hits, something like that, maybe even less than that. But anyway, it's very rare. But in terms of, I mean, the American League Central, I was trying to find a stat. I couldn't find it through Google. Maybe I didn't put the right things in there. Of a team at the All-Star break being in first place under 500. Not that we're at the All-Star break yet, but we're not that far away.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I bet it hasn't happened often. Now, it's different now because the divisions are smaller than they used to be. You know, so it would have had to have happened in the last, like, 20 30 years. But
yeah.
I don't remember. Even this late in the season, I don't remember the first place team being under 500.
Yeah, we've got research people. I could get.
Yeah, I'd love to know because I can't. I would guess it's never happened before. Maybe, you know, this late. This division's hideous. But I look at the Guardians, guys, and you look at the next couple of weeks before we get back to Bo Naylor, their schedule is very favorable.
Oakland, Milwaukee, then they're out on the road. The Cubs, right?
Yeah, I mean the Cubs are playing. You know,
Kansas City. I thought it was Chicago.
Maybe I got that wrong. I think they have 19 games left before the break. I think it's 19.
Wow.
And
that kind of crept up.
And 10 of the 19 are against Kansas City and Oakland. They have 2 series with Kansas City, 1 with Oakland. Milwaukee, who's okay.
Yeah.
The Cubs, who are eh.
Yeah.
and then the Braves who are good.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're playing two, the Brewers and the Cubs are the same level as the Guardians. The Royals and the A's are the two worst teams in baseball. You're playing them 10 of the next 19 games. They need the Guardians, who are, I think, 4 under or 5 under? I can't remember now.
They're 5 under, 33
5
and
under.
38.
So in these last 19 games, to be over 500, you'd have to go what? If they go 13-6, they'd be over.
They need to have this.
Well, they need to go 13-6, and that's not too much to ask with who they're playing.
That should be gravy. That should be gravy. If you playing the A's, you playing the Royals.
They got to win 8 of those 10 games.
You gotta beat up on those teams because I look at it like this. This is gonna tell me whether or not they're actually going to be. I still think they're pretenders a little bit, but this will show me whether or not they're really, really pretenders. Because if you can't stretch games together against these bad teams, that just shows me that you are way below the other top teams, especially in the East. So for me, you got to take 8 out of 10 especially with those two guys, and that's what baseball is about. You may not be up to the upper echelon, and you may not be able to compete head to head in a lot of those games, but the series that you play in lesser opponents, you got to beat them, and then you can at least buffer some of that.
Jason, I look at the American League as a whole, and I don't see one team that can't be beat. And as much as I think the Guardians right now are well below Texas and Houston and Boston and Baltimore and most of the American League, like the best teams in the American League right now have been Texas, Tampa, and Baltimore.
Yeah.
And none of those rosters are look like amazing rosters. I mean, they're all playing well. I give them their credit, but Tampa Bay's lost half their pitching staff. They're doing it with mirrors to some degree.
They'll find more.
They'll find more.
There's
but
witchcraft going on.
It's not like any of those teams are some unbeatable team. Like the Astros last year in the playoffs felt like an unbeatable team.
Yeah.
And they turned out to be unbeatable. There's not a team like that this year. And as unlikely as it seems, if the Guardians do improve their roster and play up to their capabilities, I don't think it's impossible for them to make a run in the playoffs, as much as I don't think they're very good right now. Because I don't think the top – would I pick them to win a series against Tampa?
No.
No, I wouldn't. But I don't think it's impossible if they improve the roster to beat those teams.
What is their capabilities? Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't see them as a really high ceiling team.
Guardians?
Yeah. I mean, listen.
When I said play up to their capabilities? I mean – do I think they have a high ceiling? No, but it's higher than they've played at.
They would have to say the Orioles or the Red Sox or the Rays, they would have to have a bad series. And the Guardians would have to play their
Sure, but that happens. I mean, that happens, right?
It happens all the time. Tampa feels like they're in a class above everybody else as far as I'm concerned. And it's not a lot of household names, certainly. But just the way that entire organization is structured, they get the absolute most out of it. They're almost like the Miami Heat of baseball. It feels
it's a good comparison.
And they just...
It's like, how are they doing this? You look at the roster, you're not that impressed?
They squeeze everything that they can get out of these guys. And they lose a guy, and you think, okay, that's it. And then 2 more come up. And I just... To me, that's the class of the... Now, that doesn't mean they're not unbeatable. But I certainly would think the Guardians would have a hard time going head-to-head with them.
The Triston McKenzie issue, if he's out for the year... Hoynesy apparently said... What did Hoynesy say exactly? I don't want to misquote. Mike, do you have exactly what he said in that article?
Let me find it, but I saw a tweet this weekend that McKenzie, if anyone didn't see, got sent back to the IL with elbow soreness.
Which is never good.
Which is never good, and a lot of times that leads to Tommy John surgery. And I'll find the exact tweet, but as I was scrolling through Twitter, Paul Hoynes, he's with Cleveland.com.
He's going to be out a while regardless. I mean, this is not a 10-day thing.
You wonder if it changes their plan in terms of trade.
I don't think it can. I'm actually going to write about that, I think, this week.
Right. But let's face it. If they don't have Bieber or McKenzie the rest of the year, they can't win anything.
Well, they don't got McKenzie, he can't win. I think they may shut him down even if he don't have surgery.
I guess it depends what the injury is. I mean, he's going to be out for a while, but it doesn't look promising right now.
But this is an organization, they try to win every year. They compete every year. They try to win every year. But they are so dependent on the lifeblood of the farm system and keeping things going. I don't think they can risk not trading Bieber, especially if he is the number one piece on the market right now, which all indications are they are, although I have to think the White Sox are going to pull the flag at some point and make Giolito available. But still, that's only 2.
The reality is that Marcus Stroman of the Cubs has pitched better than both those guys.
Are they going to make him available?
They should.
Are they going to?
I don't know.
So all the indications right now are that Bieber is going to be probably the best pitcher on the market. If that's the case, I think you have to sell because there are enough red flags around Shane, and we've talked about the velocity before, and there's no room for error with him, and he's not the same pitcher that he was. Other teams know that, so that drops his value. What increases his value is the fact that he's still the best available. And there's
the
a lot
scarcity of starting pitching.
Yeah.
A lot. You look at these contending teams, like maybe not Tampa because they don't make that kind of trade, but you look at Baltimore, like they could use a Shane Bieber. You look at Texas, they could use a Shane Bieber.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course, you want to try and get him to the National League.
Okay.
Ideally.
I mean, could the Dodgers trade for him? Sure.
Oh, sure.
The Dodgers, they've had a shaky pitching staff with a lot of injuries this year.
Do you guys think
Arizona? I mean, Arizona's a surprise, really good team.
Yeah.
Could Cincinnati? Maybe get crazy here. Cincinnati's like a game out of first right now.
Do the Guardians have the wherewithal? Like, say for instance, like you said something and it just sparked my imagination. He says, they try to compete every year. Do they have the wherewithal, do you think, to say, look, man, got off to a slow start. McKenzie's hurt. That's a huge part of what we're trying to do. The bats got it. Zanino, then $6 million went down the drain. Maybe it's just ain't our year this year.
Well, I mean,
maybe this ain't us.
That's probably true. But the problem is, I mean, if you look at it as a problem, the fact that division is so bad makes it complicated.
Right.
If they were in any other division, we'd just be talking about who they're trading and what they can get.
Yes.
But either way, to me, when they trade Bieber, because I agree with you, I think even with McKenzie's injury, they're probably going to trade Bieber. And by the way, they could still win this crappy division without McKenzie and Bieber. Mm-hmm. That's how bad this division is.
We've yet to see Gavin Williams.
Right, which he'll be up at some point this year. Right? For the most part, Bibby's pitched real well. Yeah. Allen's been pretty good. Yeah. Savali's been decent since coming off the injured list. The bullpen overall has been better lately. The reality is, though, they still got to trade Bieber for proven players. At least guys who are ready to play in the majors. I mean, this laundry list of all these prospects, you talk about it being their lifeblood, and that's true, but it's too much at this point.
Well, and there's a way to do both. Yeah. Like the Bauer deal, they did both. They got
and Clevenger also.
Clevenger felt like more prospect. Oh, I guess they got Naylor. Naylor came up.
Right.
But in the Bauer deal, they got Franmil and they got Puig. So they got 2 bats to plug into the lineup immediately. And I feel like, I don't remember now off the top of my head. I feel like they got a prospect too in the Bauer deal.
I can't remember now the exact
deal. It was
deal.
Cincinnati, San Diego, and Cleveland. Wow. I don't remember all the particulars.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do both, where you can get help for now and something for later.
Right.
And I just think if you lose that extra year of postseason control and you wait till next year to trade Shane, you've cut his value in half, if not more.
They're going to trade him. I agree with you. You got to trade him now. And
by the way, McNuggets, I'm using this same rationale with Donovan Mitchell. I love what you just said, Jason. Stay tuned.
Well, all right. I disagree with you on the Donovan thing, I think, but I want to hear you out.
All right.
I think it's different.
We'll get there.
In terms of Bo Naylor, I'm glad he's up. I agree with you that one guy alone, even if he plays great, but it was a spot in the lineup that was a 0, and now you're hoping it's not.
Now it's a half.
Until proven otherwise, right? There's a high ceiling now at that position.
At least there's hope.
There's hope at that position. They still need other bats. I've been through the Miles Straw thing a million times.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a major league hitter. I've said it time and time again. I gotta give credit to Naylor. I've never been a big Naylor guy. He's playing great.
Yeah.
He's holding down.
Now listen, I still wouldn't use him against most lefties, but overall, he's by far their second best player in the lineup.
Yeah.
And he's had a tremendous season. He's been very clutch, a lot of big hits.
He's never been a guy, like when I did the piece before the season on guys I would extend right now, I didn't include him. He's never been like a long-term contract guy to me.
Yeah.
Maybe he's playing himself into that conversation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do another one. I mean, what's his...
I don't know if he's got another year before...
What's his value? Like, what is his value? He's not a huge power hitter. He's limited with his inability to hit lefties. He's not good defensively.
Yeah.
But against righties, he's a very good hitter.
He's a steady, everyday player.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's a flawed everyday player.
A strong side platoon guy, I guess.
Yeah, I don't look at him as an everyday player. But playing the majority of the time.
Is a DH an everyday player?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a guy you want. But I'm never, like, even if I'm going to play him against lefties, I'm only playing him against shitty lefties. I'm not starting him against any quality lefties at all because he's not going to hit those guys. But against righties, his numbers against righties are high quality.
Terrific.
You know, they're borderline all-star against righties. So
if he can get he got 8 home runs now. If he gets 25, 26.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm stealing a topic you can use later, but who's their all-star representative?
Zach.
I said Clase. Zach said you could make a case for Naylor.
Well, Ramirez. I mean, why would
I think Clase is going to be the only one that they get. I mean, I don't know third base numbers off the top of my head across the league.
Well, yeah, it depends. I'm not thinking about the other guys.
We had built graphics for that last week. We had to scrap it because something else Guardians happened. It was you wanted to rant about calling Bo Naylor up, and then it worked out. Remember, we had that actually as a topic last week. We'll revisit that later this week. But there's a case to be made for a couple guys to potentially be all-stars.
I think they're only getting one.
They certainly will not get multiple.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any clear, like none of their. I know Clase leads the league in saves, but he hasn't been great.
Comparatively speaking to what he was last year, he has not been the same. Right. But if you just look at his numbers, he's an all-star.
Comparatively, he's probably the top choice, and then Ramirez and Naylor.
There's no way they're getting 3.
They're not getting more than one guy.
2.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
Question for you guys real quick on Bo Naylor, though. What is a fair expectation for Guardians fans, for us, for anyone who's been clamoring for Bo to be called up, to have for Bo Naylor now for the rest of the season?
A reasonable, like, not crazy. I'd like to see him hit. I think reasonable, I'll say for the rest of the year, it's about half the season. Okay? I think we're a little more than half. We got a little less than half of the season is gone. I would say hit 250.
That's right. I was 240 to 250.
With 10 homers and 30-something ribbies.
I was 240
He did that the rest of the way?
I think he's got some speed. He can steal a couple bags. He's not going to lead the league. He's not going to have 30 steals.
No.
But he can take the extra base when it's presented to him in the right situation.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 8 home runs. 240, 8 home runs.
225, 12 home runs. 12 to 15.
If Bo Naylor hit 12 to 15 home runs in 90 games,
I mean, you got to think about it.
I mean, they have one player on pace for 20 homers.
Yeah.
One. Even Naylor's not on pace for 20 homers.
Yeah. I wouldn't care if he struck out.
They have 2 players on pace, I think, for 70 ribbies, which is just hideous. I don't know if I texted this to you guys, but I don't know if you saw this. Through the Guardians have played 71 games, I think, 72, whatever amount of games they played to this point. Mm-hmm. In 2001, through the same amount of games, Barry Bonds had 8 less homers than the Guardians roster this year.
He was also taking horse testicles.
Well, do we know that Josh Naylor's not taking horse testicles?
I can look at him and tell you he's not taking horse testicles.
All right, maybe he's taking cow testicles.
Hey, bro, listen.
Or pig testicles.
I'm going to tell you what, man. Yeah. I still don't understand it. That's the greatest feat I've ever seen in my life. Like, watching a dude not only hit that many home runs, but get intentionally walked. And then
the bases loaded.
Bases loaded.
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hey,
you
listen,
know what
we can
that
talk
means?
about steroids all we want. We know it factored in, but nobody else. A lot of other guys were taking steroids and weren't hitting that many home runs.
Still got to hit the ball.
Right? What did he finish? What did he finish with that year?
73, right?
73?
73 or 74.
And you know, Bull, there are times when, as a hitter, you just miss a pitch. Like, you can hit it hard, you just missed it. This dude never missed. He get walked 3 times. He's standing up there taking his 12 balls.
Will the Guardians hit more home runs than Bonds did in 2001? I'm going to say yes.
Yes. 73?
Yeah.
Yes. It might come down to September.
I think they're about 10 home runs behind the Nationals for 29th place. Something like that. Are they 10? Can you look at that, Mike?
What do you need?
The home run team totals. How far are they behind the Nationals for 29th place?
Oh, it's not good. If you give me 2
seconds,
seconds, I'll have that up for you here.
That's the problem, Bull. Their room in the playoffs, their room for margin is too slim.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ultimately the smart move. I hate to give up on a season when you have a chance to win the division, and I still think the Guardians are going to win the division because I don't think anybody else is any good, and I think Francona's a savvy enough manager if they can make some improvement, but they're not going to make any short-term moves.
I got your numbers. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Guardians, through 71 games, according to ESPN.com Major League Baseball statistics, are dead last in home runs with 46.
That's
the
insane.
Washington Nationals, in 71 games, are second to last, 29th, with 54 home runs.
Okay, so they got
8
more home runs
than the Nationals.
They got 8
or than
behind the
Guardians.
second worst team in the league. I mean, that's crazy.
And they are 18 behind the third.
How many's Tampa hit?
Braves
Tampa
have the most
has
now.
Atlanta has 9 more than Tampa. Atlanta in 72 games has 126.
Jesus.
So how about this?
Jesus.
So Jose Ramirez leads the Guardians in home runs, right? You know where he'd rank on the Braves?
Probably like 7th.
Tied for 7th.
Yeah, there you go.
He'd be tied for 7th in home runs on the Braves.
You just listen. I understand we love pitching and like it's good. No, it's got overboard. I know pitching wins games, but damn it, you can't win no games doing that, man. That's
you can't be this bad
like,
power
that's
wise.
Horrible.
And that's why in the Bieber trade they have to get somebody that can hit home runs.
Got to like.
Now will they do it? I don't know. Somebody texted in one of our text chains. Trade with the Cardinals yesterday.
That was Tyvis.
Yeah,
that was Tyvis. What was that trade again? I got a.
It was Shane Bieber for Tyler O'Neill, a prospect and a reliever. I think I never heard of. It was. I have it right here.
It was Libertor.
Matthew
Libertor,
Tyler O'Neill, and Moises Gomez, St. Louis's number 12 prospect.
Okay. On paper, that sound. I've always been a big Tyler O'Neill guy. Now he's never completely lived up to his potential. However, he's a good defensive player, solid hitter, big-time power, and he can run. Matthew Libertor is a good pitching prospect who's already in the big leagues and doing, I think, a decent job. I don't know about the other kid. I'm not familiar with him, but I said yesterday in the text chain that I would do it, except Tyler O'Neill's not healthy right now. But if I'm playing for the future, the Cardinals make sense. Although I don't think the Cardinals would do it. They're so bad.
That's what I said. The Cardinals are so far back. Why would they do that?
Now they're in a situation not quite as bad as the AL Central. The NL Central is not great, but it's not as bad as the AL Central.
Yeah, I don't think the Guardians do anything until the deadline. Like, you want to let this build. You want to let teams bid against each other and let the value grow there. So I don't think anything is imminent with Shane, but I don't think he's here beyond July 31st.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit it. It's hard. You have to find a team that really needs a pitcher, but that has.
And there are plenty.
Yes, but that has some major league hitting talent.
Right. Or you could also, again, I keep going back to the Bauer deal. It became a 3-team deal.
Yeah.
It would not at all shock me if the Bieber trade evolves into something that looks like that, where it's 3 teams and you get multiple pieces back. You get guys to help you now and something for later.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that would make some sense. And when I say a proven veteran, I don't want a guy who, for this year's team, you're not trading for a Yasiel Puig who's on the last year of his contract.
Right.
But a guy who, even if the guy's only got 3 years left,
and that's a huge thing with these guys, obviously, is control. But, I just wonder, and we don't have any clear answers on this. Like, I don't know the answers to this. But what's the timeline here in terms of Dolan's and Blitzer's, David Blitzer? And we've seen $200 million contracts given out in consecutive off seasons. Never thought I'd see that.
Yes. But yet the overall payroll is not going up.
But I think, like, we're seeing future money that I think is not going to be the Dolan's problem. You know what I mean?
So it's an indicator that you think the payroll whenever Blitzer takes over will go up.
It's an indicator that they're spending money that they don't have to worry about. And maybe I'm totally wrong on that. Maybe 7 years from now.
Well, I hope you're right.
Maybe 7 years from now, it still looks exactly as it does today. I don't think that's the case. I don't have the exact timeline. But just look at the contracts and the indications. I think that they're spending future money that the Dolans aren't going to have to pay.
Right. That Blitzer obviously gave an okay to.
Yeah, and so I just wonder how that impacts all of this. But again, they target control years. How long do we control these guys?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, no. Did you have one last point? I was ready to read in that I was finally ready to get. You caught me off guard for maybe the first time in a year and 3 months. I've been completely caught off guard. I looked at my ad sheet, and all these are old and not still current ads, and I was like, crap. I don't know what to say.
By the way, Mikey McNuggets is coming down to the Little League game tonight. No help from those 2 slackers, Earl and Anthony, with you tonight. You're doing it all by yourself. And, we're going to be videotaping. Hopefully we get a big win tonight.
The camera works. So that's a big upgrade over last year's adventure. We have a wireless mic.
We're in a different dugout than last year. We're in the opposite dugout.
That's fine. We'll be okay. But I'm expecting a big win from the Little League Raptors, the Rocky River Raptors.
No, we're not the Raptors. That was the basketball team.
You guys are all the Raptors. Rocky River Raptors.
Swinging door, man. Let's go.
Swinging door. Well, I'm expecting a big win. The camera will be out there.
Yeah.
And if you want to come check out some great Little League baseball at Rocky River Field.
We got
tonight.
a concession stand with burgers and dogs.
Bull says the hot dogs and the
burgers.
hamburgers are phenomenal. If you can't make it out to the Rocky River Swinging Door Little League game tonight, you can check out a USFL playoff game this weekend. Our guy Boogie, in a win or die situation, made it, except Boogie hurt his knee. He's getting an MRI right now, so he is not on the show, but you can see Boogie, hopefully, who will be back and healthy, taking on whoever they're playing in the playoffs. I honestly
Do
have
we know
no
if
idea.
he's going to be able to play yet? Or no, we wait
He's
for the
getting
MRI
MRI now,
results.
like as we speak now. So
Well, that would be disappointing if he couldn't play, obviously.
It
He's
would
going to
be.
be bummed, so hopefully he'll be
But
all
the
right.
games are in Canton. You should go check them out. You get all your tickets, information, and needs at usfl.com.
So how
hoping
many
for
teams
a
make the
speedy
playoffs?
recovery. I think 4.
So do we know who they're playing? That's a no. Okay.
No.
We'll figure it out by tomorrow's show.
Boogie's usually my answer. Like, Boogie comes in.
Yeah, right.
Boogie,
He
who
gives
you
the
playing this
answer.
week?
All right. So
I'll
you
be,
say-
listen.
There you go.
We had a blast when we all went down. We had fun. Bull, you came.
Yeah.
I have followed the XFL outside of Boogie, the USFL outside of Boogie, extremely minimally.
Yeah.
Like, extremely.
By the
minimally.
way, speaking of that stadium in Canton, excellent soft pretzels there. Got to give them major kudos.
Hey man, you know, soft pretzels is the staple. You know, when I go to the movie theater, I just eat dinner there because you can't just have nachos and you can't just have a
You
pretzel.
could buy a steak for what it costs you for pizza
Yeah.
and M&M's at the movie
Oh,
theater.
listen!
hold on.
It's $60.
You buy pizza
Nah,
at a movie
I
theater?
meant popcorn.
Popcorn. It's $60. Oh, listen. You trying to go out like you doing something? Because you know they're gonna upsell you on the drink. The drink
Yeah.
is like
crazy.
$5.95 to start with.
Yeah,
It costs them like a penny.
$8.95 for this 32 ounce. that
It's
you
so
get
funny.
one free refill.
I
on.
leave the concession stand up and they're like, it's $47.20. I'm like, $47 for
It's
snacks?
crazy.
So do you guys not smuggle? We always smuggle.
Nah,
we
I
go to the
used
grocery
to.
store. We go to the grocery store and load up my wife's purse.
nah.
Jason, you're
everything.
loaded. You're making big money. What is going on here? You
I
guys
ain't
smuggling
spending,
food?
I am not loaded, and I ain't spending it at the movie theater.
Now I bring my candy in there. The candy that's from the gas station.
Does anybody here get hot dogs in a movie theater? 'Cause
Oh,
that's
God,
No,
inappropriate.
it's disgusting.
No.
It's vile.
Hot dogs are inappropriate.
They look like they boiled.
And
Boiled hot dogs.
pizza in a movie is
I meant
inappropriate.
popcorn and milk duds.
Oh my gosh.
I get popcorn. My son gets nachos and Bunch of Crunch.
I just realized when I was growing up, I was eating a bunch of garbage. Like I was like back
Why,
in the
now you're not eating a bunch of
I
garbage?
mean, who boils hot dogs and has that little film? It looked like that little film of like dirty tub water at the top.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm like, why is this boiled out? And then you'd be like, these ain't even all beef. This is chicken neck, turkey, and hooves. This is bad, bro. Nasty. And then
true.
we never had hot dog buns. I'm like, man, I ain't
Yeah.
see no hot dog bun. It was regular white bread.
Oh really?
Yeah.
At the movie theater, they put a hot dog in
No,
white
at
bread.
my house. We wasn't
Oh,
going
it's
to the
your
movie
house.
theater.
Oh.
We couldn't go to the movies. They'd be like, shut up. Don't ask.
Yeah.
You know, no food. Like, or we would go on field trips. See, this is why I like. So when you went to the game, right?
Yeah.
You bought them snacks. Back in the day, coaches and people you went to the game with.
Yeah.
That was BYOB. You
Yeah.
bring your own snack money.
Right.
So that was nice of you. Now
Yeah.
I would go and they'd be like, I just stopped going. I said, listen, if you're not gonna send me with a 20, I'm not going to the field trip. I'm tired of looking around, being
Yeah,
parched.
everybody else is eating.
Everybody else, I'm going to stay at the crib.
All right, Mikey, what do you got for us?
So shout out to the chat. We found out Pittsburgh is playing the Michigan Panthers, the team we saw them
the team we
play,
saw them play.
and then beat, which means you can expect a low-scoring affair because
Yeah.
both those offenses were abysmal. So bet
Both
the
those
under,
quarterbacks were
and
terrible.
hopefully Boogie will eat again and have
Big
a couple
defensive
more
game.
Security was no
interceptions,
joke on
sacks,
the
all
field.
that. So
Because I took the boys down the field so they
Yeah.
could run the 40, and Boogie was over there signing autographs. And he was literally like 30 feet away.
Yeah.
And I tried round in the corner of the end zone, and they're like, nope, go that way. It's like, seriously? Like that?
And then
we
Jason
know-
went, do you know who I am?
No, I would never. You would pull that card before.
I would never
Oh,
pull
you
it.
100% would pull that
I have
card.
never done that in my life.
Bull would.
You do not know me as well as you think. I would never do that.
Oh, I
Never.
think you would.
I'd want to secretly, but I would never actually do it. I would actually never do that. You think I would do that?
Yes, I think 100.
that's very
All right,
insulting,
let's take a
Jason.
poll. Who thinks Bull
yeah,
would do that?
I think Bull would. I'm not gonna lie. Bro. Sorry.
I can't believe you guys think I would do that. I would never do that. I've
think
never
you
done that.
would.
Who?
But-
don't you know who I am?
We'll put that in the YouTube chat. We'll get the answer later. let's talk about our next topic here.
No, we're talking about the fact you've all insulted me by saying that I would do that. Who was that idiot woman reporter who did that and got busted at the garage? Remember? Oh, remember? She talked to the woman who was behind the counter taking money at a garage. She's like, "You're nothing." She ruined
Britt McHenry.
Britt McHenry. Yeah, right. I'm not. The people that do that are awful human beings.
There are degrees to do you know who
I would
am.
never do
there
that.
There are degrees
Come on.
to it.
Now,
I mean, you did berate a Little League umpire.
First of all, I didn't berate him. I got angry, and then I apologized.
You did.
Because I lost my cool. I went up to him after the game, and in fact, his mom, sent me an email thanking me for apologizing, because I'm sure other people have yelled at him and never apologized. I lost my cool. I didn't like it. I told my team I handled it inappropriately, and I was embarrassed by that. And I certainly lose my temper, but I would never say, "Do you know who I am?" I might think it, but I would never actually say it. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, so our next topic leads us into our big topic of the day, which is the Cleveland trade value rankings. But to get there, let's start with a proposed trade that was thrown out on a podcast over the weekend in jest. Zach Lowe, ESPN's NBA
Why would he
insider.
throw out a trade in jest?
They were just talking. It was him, Jonathan Givony, and Bobby Marks just talking about trades, hypothetical trades. I think would spice up the league if they wanted to have some fun. Like they weren't saying these were talked about. These would be fun trades.
By the way, nothing spicy about this trade at all. I don't know, how's this trade very spicy?
It's not really spicy.
Go
I
ahead.
tend to agree with you on that side. But they're just throwing out a couple potential options. And one of them that popped up that then, as it does in the Twitter sphere, if it says it, then it gets aggregated as they're reporting it. And if you go back and listen, they were just talking about hypothetical options. They proposed this. How about Kristaps Porzingis to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Jarrett Allen, Dean Wade, Jetty Osman, and a couple of second-round picks.
See, here's the thing. Before we get into the fact, obviously, Jason's going to lose his mind about why this trade would never happen, and that's fine. Before we get to it, here's what happened. Because this Wizards-Suns trade, the Wizards got completely destroyed in this deal. Not that Bradley Beal is that great, but they got nothing for him.
Yep.
Because that happened, now every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks, well, my team can make a trade where we get nothing. The thing with Bradley Beal, which made it weird, is he, and you would know better than I, Jason, I believe is one of the very few players that had a no trade clause.
Yeah.
Those things are that's big in baseball. It doesn't really happen in the NBA that much. Why they gave it to him, I have no idea. So he basically said to him, "Here's where I'm going. You can get." So they had no leverage whatsoever in a trade.
And it's a mammoth contract. A mammoth contract.
Right, he's overpaid.
Yeah.
He's good, but not great.
So here's this hulking boulder, and you don't even get to decide where you drop it.
Right.
So that was...
Yeah, so there's no comparison really to other situations.
No, Porzingis they could actually get assets for.
Right.
And they would have... Zach, I love Zach. Like, I have a ton of respect for Zach. I think he's terrific at what he does. He knows better than to throw that out there. That's never going to happen because why would the Wizards want Jarrett Allen and I was going to say trash, but I'm trying to be nice to the people involved.
Yeah.
But why would the Wizards want any part of that deal? You could actually get a number one for Porzingis right now today.
Yeah.
That is far better than anything else on that list. They don't want Jarrett Allen at $20 million a year. Jarrett Allen, I know everyone's down on him now. I know. I get it. And ultimately, I don't know that you can play two non-shooting bigs together. We've had that conversation 100 times. But I think that there is value to Jarrett Allen, just not to the Wizards. So there's no way that ever gets done, and I don't know why they bother to throw that out there. That's a waste of time.
Man, every single day, I wake up and somebody got a problem with my trades. No, I'm just playing. The Cavs are screwed. They're screwed because the reason we overvalue Jarrett Allen is because we know he's not that good and we can't get anything for him. So instead of just being like we're stuck with a contract that's bad from a guy who can't space the floor, we'll hope all of a sudden he gets some sort of game. We can't do anything.
There is a lot of value.
Trade him, right? Like
there is value to Jarrett Allen. There really is.
Just not to get the guys that everybody wants to get. You got to be realistic about who you can get.
Right. I mean, the listen, the Cavs don't have any trade assets, guys. Like they pushed everything. They opened the cupboard door and they threw everything at Utah. Right. There is nothing left. They cannot trade a first-round pick until the year of our Lord 2031.
That's
like
crazy.
Well, they can do those swaps.
They can't even do that. They gave Utah the swaps.
That is crazy.
They have
for those other years, they gave Utah
yes,
the swaps.
they gave Utah swaps in 26. Utah controls the Cavs drafts
And this-
from, what is it, 25
Okay.
through 30 to
All right.
29?
So,
Yes.
Jay, here to me is the more important question that you guys need to answer, and I will answer as well. Should the Cavs at this point, you said, we keep asking, can you win with two big guys that can't shoot from distance?
No.
It feels like you can't win that way in this NBA. So it seems to me that they really have to trade Jarrett Allen to develop some sort of new mix. So at this point, if you're the Cavs, does it make sense to shop him, see what the best offer you can get is, and do it?
Yes.
What you need is what you can't get for Jarrett Allen.
Yeah.
You need playmaking wings. You need
Right.
guys who can 3-and-D guys, shoot guys who can handle the ball
But
a
you
little
can
bit.
get somebody, maybe not as good as you'd like. I mean,
But what Jarrett provides you defensively, there's value there, and you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
no, but I'm not
hold
saying
on,
give him
no.
away for
No,
nothing.
no.
I'm saying get the best you can. Is the best you can get worth trading him?
I don't know. I'm not in on those conversations. But
Yeah.
here's like the little cheat code that fixes the two non-shooting bigs. If Evan Mobley learns to friggin' shoot, that makes this look a whole lot easier. Now, is it realistic to think that? I mean, he regressed as a three-point shooter this year. Is it realistic to think that he's going to jump to 35% next year? Probably not. But if Evan develops on the perimeter a little bit more, the way that they thought that he would, and the way that I still think he can, it doesn't always come on our timeline, right?
Sure.
Like he's going into year 3, and it doesn't always happen the way that we want it to happen to. But if he takes another step, that alleviates a lot of the two non-shooting bigs thing. I think that Jarrett, what he provides defensively, I know everyone's down on him. Everyone is yelling at him over the next thing, and I get it. But I just think that we're overlooking that there is still a lot of good that he does. And I have said, and I still say, yes, I would entertain the thought of trading him. Yes. I just don't know that the deal is out there that's going to bring you back what you need. The Cavs have done the hard part. Like, I think I put that in the group text. Theoretically, like getting the stars, developing the core pieces, that's really hard to do. They've got that part down. This is supposed to be the easy part in filling out the rest of the roster,
Right.
finding shooting. That's supposed to be a lot easier than finding the Donovan Mitchell piece,
Right.
the Darius Garland piece,
Yeah.
the Evan Mobley. That's what, I don't know the exact number, 22 teams around the league are trying to do that. They've got that part.
Yeah.
They need everything else.
Well, here's the problem: is while we're doing that, and they think that they're going to magically the Evan Mobley. I have a problem banking when you're trying to win today. I got a problem asking a 20-year-old to be the savior, and I think we've asked Evan Mobley to turn into Kevin Garnett, and he has not shown that that's even in his game plan. Like Chris Bosh, like he's not even a better shooter than Bosh at this point. Could he get there? Sure. He could be a LaMarcus Aldridge and develops 5-6 years away from now. But the reality of it is, once you made the trade for Donovan Mitchell, now you in the game. You here, front row and center. That's why they tell people no snitching. You know what happens if you snitch, right? You're here for a reason. You know what comes with the game when you do bad things. Take your responsibility. The Cavs are here today. They made the trade as a bunch of swaps, so they don't have assets. So you have to look at it and say, oh, what is my best trade chip to get better? Well, there's two ways you can look at it. One is Jarrett Allen. One is Donovan Mitchell. And if you trade Donovan Mitchell this year to get the most from him, you just admitted that you made a grave mistake, because that means you traded your whole future for 1 year in which you lost
Yeah,
in
it
the
doesn't
first
make
round.
sense. You
And
can't trade Donovan
you
Mitchell
can't
right
trade
now.
him.
No, you're not trading Donovan Mitchell.
So,
No.
But other teams, like the Miami Heat, who are now interested in Damian Lillard, they look at you like, oh, I smell blood in the water. Because every team in the East is looking to get better because it's a crapshoot. It's up in the air. The Celtics are looking at Porzingis. The Celtics wouldn't mind getting Kyle Kuzma. All these other teams feel like their window is open too. And the Cavs can't sit there and just put their head in the sands and say, well, Jarrett Allen provides
back.
Look, Jarrett Allen provides defense. No, Jarrett Allen provides defense in the regular season. We've seen what his defensive prowess was in playoff time. It was 0.
Well, it was 0, but it was also 1. It was, I don't know. I'm not. I don't.
It's
love,
a small sample size.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was
but
0. He's right. It's 0.
Right.
But it was
negative.
a small sample
It was
size.
and he's been to the playoffs before.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
played
yeah.
in Brooklyn.
I was confused.
But a couple things. Number one, they're not asking Mobley to save them. That's Donovan and Darius's job. They're asking Mobley to stretch the floor. It's a big difference. You don't have to carry the entire franchise. And number two, the whole idea, like, I know, like, we've talked about it in the past about Damian Lillard. Should the Cavs go after Damian Lillard, should Denver? What year is Jokic in? What do we say? 8? He's in year 8.
This was the 8th year.
What's Murray? Year 7?
I think 6. Maybe no. It's 9 and 7. That's what it is. 9 and 7. Jokic is 2 years older than Murray.
Okay. So should Denver have traded Jamal Murray for Russell Westbrook after his 2nd or 3rd year? You're shortcutting. You're already up against it now with Donovan and the amount of time that you have against him. We've covered that. If you were to do something rash and go get another veteran who's not going to be here for long, you had a window that was quite long and slammed it shut. And that just doesn't make sense to me because, again, we want these things right now, and I get it. As fans, you want it right now. But it took Denver 7 and 9 years with their 2 best players for it to figure it all out. And the Cavs, the Donovan thing is a separate conversation. And you don't have that long with Donovan.
Right.
But you do have Darius and Evan that long. And so I just don't think that you start rushing to make knee-jerk emotional trades now that's going to cut off what you could have. It may not happen in year 3.
I get what you're saying.
But there's year 4, year 5, year 6.
But that's not enough. I just don't believe. I don't believe Darius and Mobley are enough.
What I was going to ask is that's a big. That's almost saying, well, we think Darius and Mobley are going to be Murray and Porzingis. Not Porzingis.
But
Jokic.
In year 4 and year 2 of Jokic and Murray, did you ever think they would win a championship together?
Probably not.
Probably not. And that's what I'm saying. You just don't know where it's going. But Darius is really friggin' good. And Evan is unbelievably talented.
And that's why,
now.
to me, the answer is getting the most you can get for Allen. Well, who's the best guy? Mike, Jason, whatever. Who do you think is the best wing shooter that you could realistically get for Jarrett Allen?
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, it's not an elite guy because we talked about it before on the show.
Yeah.
When you have it's like a quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
It's like starting pitching in baseball. When you have it, you don't get rid of it.
But if
when we do the trade value,
would you trade Jarrett Allen for Tim Hardaway Jr.?
No, I don't think I would. No.
When we do the trade value thing in a sec,
yeah,
positional value matters, and a non-shooting big in today's NBA does not have the equivalent value of a player of Allen's skill set to a much less skilled wing. But because they play different positions and shooting in 3 and D guys are so much more valuable, you'd be downgrading the overall talent level on your team.
So hold on, let me get this right. So Kobe Altman gave a big contract to a non-shooting big who is now here he can't get rid of. He then made multiple pick swaps with Utah and gave away all our picks forever. He knew Donovan Mitchell probably wasn't going to sign a offer sheet, an extension here. And now you don't have any cap space or draft picks to do anything, and you are as is.
I mean, in fairness to him, we were all. I
but we all
was
loved
in favor
it.
of all those moves.
But we loved it.
Yeah.
And their top 4 is pretty friggin' good.
Yeah.
Against a lot of other teams.
And for all.
And they're still going to get better.
And you're right. And for all the complaining you and I are doing, they might run it back with the same team and have some success in the playoffs next year.
Absolutely.
Just because they didn't this year doesn't mean.
Didn't we have a fence rider question last week? I wasn't here about could they contend for a top 2 spot?
Yeah, you and me were the only ones who said yes.
Yeah. I mean, contend and earn are 2 different words.
Right, and I wouldn't break up the. I just feel like, and yes, it's to some degree, it's definitely prisoner of the moment, but it feels like Jarrett Allen is an out of place player in this generation of basketball.
When they signed him to the deal, I had conversations with people in there in the organization going, you could scheme him off the floor in a playoff series. Is that really worth $20 million?
Yeah.
And I've kind of flip-flopped multiple times on that where I thought, oh, they overpaid, and then watching him thought, no, he can play. He can stay on the floor. And then watching how the Knicks guarded him. But again, it's not necessarily the Jarrett Allen problem. It's the Mobley piece. Mobley has to shoot better. And if Mobley, I think they expected Mobley to take a step last year in his shooting. That didn't come. Now, I'm still incredibly high on Evan Mobley, but he did not shoot the ball as well as they hoped that he would. Again, if Mobley is a stretch 4, which he's not yet, but had he evolved into more of that player, if he took that step, it's a lot easier to play Jarrett Allen.
That's right. And you know what? In the end, as bad as Jarrett Allen was in the playoffs, the number one reason they lost in the playoffs is because Donovan Mitchell didn't play like a superstar.
He's terrible.
That was the number one reason.
Yeah.
So, for all the flaws, and they're all fair, if Donovan Mitchell had played like a superstar, maybe the Cavs win that series and we're thinking differently.
Hey, look, I tell them like this. Same thing I told the Browns. Hey, look, if you want to just run it back, and that's just what you want to do, understand that if you don't perform next year, all bets are off. The whole thing, you're next to a small teardown. Like, if you want to say we're not going to do much and you didn't do anything and you saw other people around the league doing stuff and they're getting better, they're going out and get guys, and you don't do well next year, understand that means your coach is probably looking at an unemployment line.
Yeah. Oh, JB will get fired.
And Donovan Mitchell will get traded.
Or Donovan Mitchell will request a trade.
Yeah. If they run it back basically with some different parts and pieces on the end and lose in the first round again, yeah, it's a total disaster.
They have to develop the margins now. They have to find shooting.
Yeah.
On the margins. Shooting. I've said it a million times.
Do they have any? They don't have much cap room, though.
No, I mean, they've got the mid-level exception. They can spend about $12.5 million. 12.5, I think, is the number. 10 or 12, something like that, which doesn't go as far anymore as it used to,
right?
Quite honestly. But they can add a serviceable piece, a rotational piece with that, 100%. But they also they either need Dean Wade to pull himself together and get over whatever happened. But again, you're not asking Dean Wade to carry you.
No, I know.
You're asking Dean Wade to make 3 threes a night and grab a few rebounds.
You're asking him to be a rotational player.
Yeah, you're just asking him to make a couple of threes and grab a couple of rebounds. That's it. It's not a high bar that you're asking for.
I agree.
The indictment, and this is, to me, this is a little bit of indictment. Well, when we talk about the Nuggets, guess what the Nuggets did? They developed bench players. When you talk about the Heat came out there with Jimmy Butler and Bam and a bunch of undrafted guys. Listen, if you want to play the small ball game and the Cavs don't want to go over the cap and we don't want to get rid of our 4, well, is it not reasonable to say, develop me somebody?
Yeah.
Get me somebody.
I mean, that's on JB.
Where's your G League guys? Where's the guy that was a diamond in the rough? Where's those guys?
They haven't done that.
Well, they have. I can't believe how much time I've spent defending the Cavs today.
Man,
My
I'm
goodness.
looking for him.
Who knew Jason would become a Cavs apologist in his old age?
But, I mean, now they need to develop shooting.
Yeah.
The guys that they haven't really shot it necessarily, although Dean Wade should be one of those guys. Like, Dean Wade is an undrafted guy that they developed. They gave him a $25 million contract. Like, that's one of those guys that fits exactly what you're talking about. He just lost his mind when Kevin left, and it just completely unraveled.
So, by the way, for all the criticism we leveled at the Cavs, myself included, for cutting Kevin Love, not when it happened, but later, he was a non-factor for Miami, I think.
He played.
The Cavs wouldn't have won this.
He played in the NBA Finals and started. Yeah, he wasn't saving them from the Knicks, but
right. He played a role. He filled a need.
Sure.
He filled a need that the Cavs had, rebounding and 3-point shooting.
But they still probably lose that Knicks series.
Oh, he's not the player that he was. Yeah. But anyway, like Lamar Stevens is a guy that they have developed. They picked up off the scrap heap. They developed him. Dean Wade's another one. Now, again, you need shooting. You've got to have shooting. They've got to develop shooting and find shooters. But they have actually they've done a better job, I think, under this regime than they did.
Yeah, but those guys are not guys that are comfortable using when it matters.
They didn't use them.
Yes, but again, like the Cavs got here way faster than I thought they could.
Okay, that's fair.
They sped up their own timetable, so.
But now that's got to happen.
Like the guys that Miami used.
Yeah.
They weren't guys that were minimum guys. Undrafted rookie guys, like they've been in the system for a couple of years.
That's fair.
So it takes a little bit of time to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you go back, this was one of the criticisms I had of like the first rebuild. Who aside from Delhi, who did they find and develop and turn into something, a useful piece off a scrap heap or on the margins? Really nobody. This team got off to a terrible start. This version, those first couple of post-LeBron years this time were awful. But they've done a nice job of finding the Lamar Stevens, the Dean Wades, the throwaway guys, and developing them into useful rotational pieces. Now, they didn't help you in the playoffs because you got to have shooting in the playoffs. You have got to be able to shoot,
and that's
the next step. They've got to find shooters.
All right, let's leave it there. Go ahead, Mike.
It is 12 o'clock, and you know what that means. It is officially the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and as always, the lunch hour of UCSS is sponsored by Calling Companies Championship. Check them out at the famous Firestone Country Club, July 12th through the 16th. Fun, family-friendly events for everyone. Kids get in free. Concerts every night. Check them out at Firestone Country Club. It is the Calling Companies Championship, July 12th through the 16th. You can find all the information at callinggolf.com.
I was robbed.
So, with that, let's get to the Cleveland athlete current trade list.
All right, so Mike has compiled a list where he's ranking the top 10 Cavs, Guardians, Browns combined. They're not ranked on who's the best through who's the 10th best. They're ranked on who's got the most trade value through who's got the 10th most trade value. All right? He's going to go 10-1. We're going to talk about each one, give a little bit, but we need the context of the whole list before we can be critical of anything else. So take it away, Mike.
That's the explanation. Before we get to that, I want to explain to people where this idea comes from, set it up in the full context, then we'll go Cleveland specific. Bill Simmons, the owner of The Ringer, does it twice a year, his annual NBA trade value column, where he ranks the top 65 players in terms of their trade value, once after the All-Star break, once after the championship. So over the weekend, he released his most updated list, and it starts like this, Steve. You could take this one full, 177. 1 through 5, Jokic, the champion, the single most valuable trade asset in basketball. He passed Giannis at number 2. He is Luka at 3. Victor Wembanyama, who we assume will be a Spur later this week, at 4. Steph Curry at 5. And then 6 through 10, real quick, is Tatum, Booker, Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, and Kevin Durant to round out the top 10.
By the way, Bill Simmons is on my top 5 list of sports media people I'd like to kick in the teeth.
He does a good job on this. So
what's your problem with Bill Simmons, man?
I don't know. The way he talks sounds very whiny. He whispers. I don't know. I find him very irritating when he talks.
I don't know him at all.
Never had a conversation. I don't know him personally. It's completely irrational and insane that I want to kick him in the teeth.
Facts.
But I thought it would sound funny to say that, and I just find it was my way of saying I find him annoying.
Okay.
And he's such a Boston homer. I don't. I don't.
Well,
I'm irritated by homers in
general.
general.
That, so.
What's the matter, Mike? What'd you say?
No, he doesn't shy away from the fact that he is a Boston homer.
Yeah, no.
So on the list, he ranks his top 65, and there were 3 Cavs on the list. And Steve, you take 179 here. The 3 Cavs who made the list were Evan Mobley at 16 in the budding superstar category, and then Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland at 23 and 26 respectively in the no, we're not trading them category. So that's the categories that he broke them down into. And the factors he used, which I also used in determining my rankings here, Steve, take next.
Mm-hmm.
Talent and skill, age, contract, positional value, and potential. So a quarterback obviously has more value than an offensive lineman, especially an interior offensive lineman. Some positions just get a bigger haul back than others. So those are the factors that I used in determining my top 10 current, as of today, June 20th, 12:05 p.m., most valuable trade pieces in Cleveland.
Now,
real quick,
yeah.
Before we get to this, the fact that Cavs have 3 of the top 26 on his list is really impressive. That's really impressive.
Right.
And they had 4. Jarrett Allen fell out. He was on the list at the deadline at 63
because
of the playoffs. Out.
But to have, I'd be curious to know how many other teams have 3 of the top 30. Probably not very many.
No.
That just shows you what I'm trying to say. That kind of illustrates.
The problem is the rest of the team is ass.
Well, I mean, most teams in the league, if you're, I don't want to. Let's go back to this. If you've got the top 3 or 4, you got to have you got to have a little bit of depth. But the bottom 7 through 12 is usually interchangeable.
Yep.
But you got to have a few more pieces than what they do. Go ahead. Mikey.
Bradley Beal was 65, just to give you idea. I thought, the Suns might, but then I realized Bradley Beal is literally dead last on his list. Quick scroll. I'm not sure if another team is 3.
Yeah.
I don't see another team with 3. That is a very, very quick scroll, but I don't see. So
in the top 30, no. I mean,
yeah, I don't see 3. I just quickly scrolled, and maybe I overlooked. I see a bunch of teams with 2, but I don't see anyone else with 3. So that is Bill Simmons' list. I took that idea, and I wanted to apply it to Cleveland athletes. Now, granted, and please don't – I'm not saying trade any of these guys. I know it's going to be taken as
get your DMs
traded. We are not.
Up.
These are just
don't
their
listen to
current
Mike.
trade
He's saying
values.
trade all of these guys.
I am not suggesting to trade any of these. It's actually an honor to be on this list because it means you get a quality haul back.
One thing that he did not have on his criteria, because he was only talking about basketball, and I just refreshed my memory again, do you have the value of one player in their sport versus the other sport as a factor or no?
Like for a baseball player versus a football player.
Right.
I did my best to find comparable deals, and this is my rankings. If you disagree, let me know. If you think someone's way off. So we're going to present each guy. We'll talk about it real quick, and then after we do all 10, we'll discuss who's too high, who's too low, what did I miss, what did I get right. So first we'll start with the honorable mentions. These are the first 5 guys who did not make the list. This would be 11 through 15 if I went that far.
I think we could have figured that out.
wow.
And this is not in order, but these are the 5 guys who did not make the cut. Stephen Kwan, Triston McKenzie, Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson Jr., and Jarrett Allen. Those were the first 5 who did not make my top 10. So with that, let us get to the top 10.
I think McKenzie, if he doesn't have Tommy John surgery, is way ahead of those other 4 guys.
Well,
Go ahead.
injuries matter.
For me.
So
I talked to Mikey a little bit about this. Yeah. McKenzie was on the list yesterday.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, McKenzie should probably be in the top 10, but maybe because of the injuries, taking him off. But okay, go ahead.
When I talked to Jason, he was 10. I bumped him off.
Yeah.
For one other guy.
Yeah.
So we'll start with number 10. And once again, we'll go through these guys, talk a little bit on them,
All right,
and then we'll go through 10. So number 10 is Shane Bieber. He's in the second year of his arbitration. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2025. His current average cap hit's $10.1 million. And a comparable deal I thought you could get back in return for him right now, based on some of the proposals out there, is 75% of what the Reds got for Luis Castillo last year, which was 2 top-tier prospects, 2 mid-tier guys. So I think 75%. You get 1 legit prospect.
Wasn't Castillo a free agent at the end of the year?
Last year, no. He had a year and a half, just like Bieber does now. So they got 2 top prospects. I think for Bieber, who's not having the same caliber of year Castillo as last year, you get 1 top prospect, 1 major leaguer, and then 1 mid prospect.
Castillo, I think.
No, Castillo just turned 27, so he's a year.
Really?
Castillo's a stud. Yeah.
I know Castillo's a stud. I don't know why I thought he was older. Wow, that shocks me.
So that is what I thought.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The equivalent value for Shane Bieber would be. Do you think I'm way off on what I think his value would be?
You said 2, 2, and a 2.
I think you get 1 top tier prospect, 1 legit major leaguer.
There's no cap hit in baseball, and there's no.
I know. I was trying to make it consistent across the board for all these guys. So to give you an idea of what they're making.
Yeah, that's reasonable. If you talk about 1 prospect, 1 guy that can help you down, and 1 mid tier.
This is part of the reason. This is, I think, what the Guardians are trying to figure out. I know for this exercise, maybe this doesn't apply, but I think this is what the Guardians are spending the next, 5-6 weeks trying to figure out is what do they want back for him? Do you want a 1-for-1 legitimate power hitter you can plug into the lineup?
Yeah.
Do you want to go the route Mikey's talking about with more prospects? I know for the sake of the exercise, we're trying to do prospects and everything, but I don't think the Guardians know what they want to get back for Shane Bieber.
I mean, in a perfect world, they'd go 1-for-1. I don't know that the hitter that you'd have to get 1-for-1, I don't know that any team is trading that hitter for Shane Bieber.
Right.
It not only a hitter, but a hitter with multiple years of control.
Right.
You want 3 years
who's
of
trading
control.
that guy for a pitcher
I don't know.
that's got some questionable peripheral numbers?
Right.
And don't the Guardians have a
pitching
limit?
is more valuable than hitting.
Don't they have a limit on the age that they're gonna I don't remember them signing too many 31 or 32-year-old power hitters, in deals that come in trades.
Yeah, well, it would have to be younger guys.
Yeah.
So
it's not an age thing; it's a how much they make thing.
Right.
I think it's going to be. I'm curious to see the rest of the list.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to rank until we see the whole thing.
Right, because my first thought is, well, he should be higher on the list, but I got to really see the rest of the list.
We'll see. So next up, number 9. This came down to 2 guys who I thought could really be in this position, and after talking to Tyvis, I ended up going with Greg Newsome at number 9, just over Martin Emerson. They both have 3 years of contractual ability left. He signed through 2024. He's his 5th year. First-round pick option the Browns could pick up for 2025. His average cap hits $3.8 million. And a comparable trade deal I found for him was Marcus Peters. There's not an exact deal. No cornerbacks of his stature, his draft pick don't get traded very often. But for Marcus Peters, they got a second-round pick and a Kenny Young, a linebacker. So you're getting a 2nd or 3rd round pick and a late-round pick for Greg Newsome.
Think, I don't know, maybe we're looking at different. I think the Guardians comparatively are getting way more for Bieber than the Browns are for Greg Newsome.
Yeah, because I remember, even when we was talking about 1 versus 1, trades, they talked about him and Jerry Jeudy, right? And they were saying oh no, the Broncos aren't trading straight up Newsome for Jerry Jeudy.
Right.
The Browns got to add something into that.
And Jerry Judy's not a top.
And he's not a top receiver at all.
I mean, I defer to Tyvis. He knows more about defensive backs in the NFL than I do. I would have taken Emerson over Newsome. I'd have put Newsome in honorable mention. I'd had Emerson on the list.
I wouldn't have either on the list.
I'd have Emerson. I think Emerson's going to be a beast, and I understand that's projecting.
He had 1 solid year, and it was not a high pick.
I know. Well, I don't care that he wasn't a high pick. He's massive with long arms, and he's a great ball coverage. Now, again, he's got to do it again.
Yeah.
I really like him.
All right, number 8, Mike.
Number 8, we're going back to the Guardians here. And this was a tough one. I think he's hard to value, and this positional value hurts him a little bit. But I went with Emmanuel Clase at number 8. He has a very, very, very team-friendly deal. His average cap hit, he's making about $4 million. He has club options in 27, 28. So the Guardians, essentially, if he doesn't fall off, will be here until the 2028 season. I looked at some comparable deals to Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman, where you got one top-tier prospect back. Gleyber Torres in the Chapman deal.
Yeah.
And even with the Yankees, they got Clint Frazier back, who was the Guardians' top prospect at the chance. And then 2 mid-tier prospects for those guys. So
right.
with
And
Emmanuel
none of those
Clase,
guys panned out.
Well, obviously
Torres
it didn't
but
pan out.
Well,
but
the Miller deal.
Well, but Torres. I would say that the Yankees would say Torres hasn't panned out. Like
Torres has been
They
good,
expected
not
Torres
great.
to be
They
an
expected
all-star. He's not an
great,
all-star.
yeah.
Well, Torres compared to what?
Well, the Guardians gave up nothing.
Yeah.
The Guardians guys were all bust.
I mean,
that's what I was talking about. But even Torres has overall been a disappointment in his Yankee career. He's a good major leaguer, but they thought he was going to. They thought he was going to be a superstar.
Yeah,
and he's not.
No, he's not a superstar, but
he's a good player.
He's a solid everyday player.
He's a good player. But I don't. Those trades are weird comparisons because those guys were rental, or those guys. Chapman was a rental.
Yeah.
Andrew Miller had a year and a half left,
Which is why I think you get a little more for Clase.
However, and Clase's contract is nothing for the best closer in baseball, or one of the best closers in baseball. However, teams now, I don't think would give up as much as they did then. The Cubs was a unique situation because they hadn't won the World Series ever, or, in our lifetime.
Closers are running backs.
No, that's not true.
No, they have value. I mean, you'd get a lot for Clase.
I mean,
but
they got
not
value.
as much as you would have gotten 7 years ago.
I'm not saying they don't have no value, but it's very rare for teams to give up a bunch of stuff just for a closer. Like think about it. If I wanted to, if you got Clase, right, what is the difference between the top-notch closer and just a good closer?
It's a big difference.
A lot.
It is a big difference because he's the top notch and he's under control for a lot of years and not getting paid anything. Even though, in general, I agree teams these days are not giving up as much for closers. In his specific case, teams would.
Yes.
In his it's very unique to him only. I don't think there's another relief pitcher in baseball. But listen, Josh Hader got traded last year, and they got a good return. At least potential. Whether those guys pan out, who knows?
I think one of the reasons he would get a bigger return is the fact that he's on a very team-friendly deal.
It's one of the best contracts in baseball.
He's getting paid pennies. That's why I'm waiting to see if Jose Ramirez is on this list.
Oh,
it might be the second best contract in baseball, and the first best contract in baseball is coming up in a couple picks. Don't worry. All right, number 7. We are staying with the Guardians, though. Staying in the Guardians infield. Not Jose, Andres Jimenez, who just signed another team-friendly deal. Now, he would be even higher on this list.
I don't know that I consider that a team-friendly deal. I consider it just a neutral deal.
No, it's 100% a team-friendly deal. If he puts up last year's numbers. If he puts up this year's numbers, it's not.
Yeah, I do believe he'll get back to that. As Jason said a bunch of times, I don't think you go from a 7-WAR guy to forgetting. The comparable deal I looked up for him was Luis Ariz last year, who was traded from the Twins to the Marlins. The Marlins gave up Pablo Lopez, one of their top pitching prospects, and another young guy, I can't remember his name, but 2 top 10 prospects in the organization and a number of 17 guys, so 3 top 20 prospects. I think you get a similar return for Jimenez, who is a plus hitter at a valued position on a long-term control.
It's a medium sauce. That's a medium sauce contract. I don't think you can get that much.
I don't think it's that team-friendly. Yeah, okay, if you had a 7-WAR every year, it would be. I don't think it was realistic to think he was going to have a 7-WAR every year.
I think Jimenez probably – I think he's probably 10 on this list. I'd have Bieber and Clase higher.
I agree. Luis Ariz is so unique because he's got no power and no speed, but he's just elite at getting on base. Yeah. I mean, it's like we've never seen recently. It's weird. But
trying to find exact comparable deals. There's never apples to apples.
Your comparisons have actually been pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, number 6. How about Deshaun Watson? Now, I know the Browns gave up a ton for him. 3 first-round picks, gave him the contract. He signed through 2026. He got the fully guaranteed deal. His average cap hit is $53.5 million. Comparable deals, I looked at what the Jets gave up for Aaron Rodgers, which was a pick swap this year and a second or first next year. I looked at the Jay Cutler deal from Denver to the Bears, which was a first and a third. I don't think you get 3 first-round picks back for Watson. Actually, I know for a fact you wouldn't get 3 first-round picks. But I do still think you'd get a first-round pick plus a little something back for Watson today if he were on the trading block, and I value NFL first-round picks more than I value NBA picks or baseball prospects.
Yeah, I mean, the Watson thing is tricky.
He's the hardest guy for me to
rank. He still
rank.
certainly has value, but his value from when the Browns traded him is way down because he played and didn't play well, and he signed a massive contract.
I think
even though you knew that was coming.
He's probably the one guy on the list where value is in the eye of the beholder, because there's probably there's teams out there that would give you 2 or 3 number ones for him. I believe that.
Still?
Yes. And I think
maybe
there's teams,
3.
And there's teams that won't touch
but not
him.
many teams.
I didn't say many.
But there only has to be 1 or 2.
That's exactly it.
There's 25 teams that wouldn't even think about it.
I think there's maybe 3 to 4 teams that believe he could put up MVP numbers next year.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody would give up the same price.
You think Tampa would? Look who they're starting. Look who their quarterbacks are. You think they would give up? I think they'd give up 2. 3 may be a stretch. I think they'd give up 2.
I think 3's a stretch. Yeah, I could be talked into 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so just to recap, 10 through 6. We had Bieber at 10, Newsom at 9, Clase at 8, Jimenez at 7, Watson at 6. At number 5, I have Darius Garland. Now, he signed a big deal, the rookie max extension last year. He's under contract through the 2027-2028 year. His cap hit just shy of $40 million, and a comparable deal for a guy of his stature, his age, his position. I thought you could get back about 75% of what the Jazz got for Donovan Mitchell for a Darius Garland trade right now. I have him at number 5 on my trade list.
I think that's high. I think I'd have him on the list. I think the contract hurts him a little bit because of how big the number is.
And he's good, but not as good as the number.
Yeah, I think Donovan had accomplished more in Utah at the time of the trade, just in terms of all-star appearances and everything else.
Yeah, he did say 75% of Donovan.
Yeah, I know. I think Darius belongs on the list, but I think I'd have him a little bit lower.
I would have Watson ahead of Darius.
Probably, yeah.
Even though you think he'd get more, but you're right. In the end, there's a couple of. I think there's a lot of teams that would have. There'd be more teams interested in Darius, than in Deshaun Watson.
100%.
But ultimately, the teams that were interested in Watson, you might even get three first-round picks. The more I think about it, you're right, because ultimately, if you need that quarterback, there's nothing more important.
This might be the last offseason you can get 3 number ones.
If he's bad this year, then you get nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Darius, I think it hurts him is he's a little slightly built. Like
he does need to get.
If he was big, if he was like a big, like I'm a 6'5", 200-pound guy where. You just was, and he's not really super duper athletic. I mean, he gets by with it. He can get by you, but he's just not. He doesn't have the physical stature that you would like to see. He's had some injury things. You can beat him up a little bit. So for me, he has some trade value, but I don't think it's crazy high.
All right. Well, we know who the top 4 are. We just don't know what order they're in.
Right.
To me, there was an easy top 3.
The top 4 are Mobley, Mitchell, Jose, and Myles Garrett.
Yep.
That is correct. And I think one of those 4 does not belong with the other 3 in terms of their return. And I think the outlier is Donovan Mitchell. And I think he still has tremendous trade value. Coming in at 4 is obviously no slight, but he's only under contract through 2 seasons, or through this 2024-25 season. Then he has the player option, which, based on how salaries are continuing to rise and rise and rise, I think it's very unlikely, no matter where he is, he would accept that player option. His average cap hit's $35 million. I think if they were to trade him today, they'd get about 75 to 80% of what Utah got for him, just based on.
So, in other words, you think the Cavs could get equal value, that Garland or Mitchell is equal value in a trade right now?
I think it's pretty close, yeah. I think Donovan's a little more.
You guys agree with that, Jason?
I think a little more, but I think it's pretty close.
I think you might be able to sneak a little more in Darius Garland. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's is that crazy, given his unique circumstances. We talk about Bradley Beal's unique circumstances and why the Wizards couldn't get it. Well, if you're the Cavs and you say, for instance, you wanted to trade Donovan Mitchell today, well, there's already been rumors that he wants to play for another team. So that kind of diminishes.
That's true.
Then,
that's fair.
Then if you move him now, you got 1 year, right? So that means you would have to move him today. The team that traded for him would have to be a contender.
Right. Or the Knicks.
Or the Knicks.
Yeah.
And that contender would need to either go to the finals or be in the conference finals for him to consider staying.
I mean, at this point, if you're another team, you're not trading for him unless you're clearly a championship contender, or you have some sort of guarantee that he's going to stay, which is unlikely. Do you agree that Darius gets more back in the trade today than Donovan?
I think, Mikey had it like kind of even. I think Darius brings back more because of the contract, because he's under control longer.
Right.
I think Donovan's probably about half. He said 75%. I think it's probably more 50%.
Yeah.
Half of what they gave up, they could recoup. And again,
yeah,
like the Knicks offer would probably be similar to what they gave last year, but it wasn't overwhelming in what they were offering for Donovan. And I don't know if there's another team. There would be. There would be another team.
So just for hypothetical saying, if the Cavs are like,
I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming.
Hypothetically, if you wanted to make a move, you say, listen, you go to New York, you say, listen, hey, listen, we know he want to kind of come here. What are you willing to give us? And you might be able to. We'll take him and get him to New York a year early. What's your thoughts? What could the Cavs get back from the Knicks?
I think the Knicks are probably going to offer similar to what they offered Utah. They're not going to go.
And what was that?
What was that, Mike? It was Barrett. It was
Barrett, Toppin, and 3 firsts. But I don't think you're getting 3 firsts anymore.
3 was it? Was New York offering 3? I don't think.
Or maybe 2 and a pick swap. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, the all-time deal. We're getting off track. The all-time deal was Anthony Davis, and what New Orleans was able to extract from LA. It's like that. That's the type of deal that you're not going to get that this time around.
If they say I'm gonna give you Toppin, I'm gonna give you Quickly, and I'm gonna give you R.J. Barrett and a pick.
I personally, I would not trade Donovan this offseason. Like, you're already all in.
Yeah, that's
go.
crazy to
so
trade
let's
him
go.
1 year
Like, run this thing back another year. And I think that there's a lot of internal growth with this roster still. There's another level for them to get to. Like, let's see it again.
I think trading him now for 3, solid players doesn't make a lot of sense.
So so let me ask you this question.
In the NBA, more than anywhere else, 4 quarters do not equal $1.
Okay,
that's right.
Donovan's $1. You're trading me 4 quarters.
So let me ask you, if say for instance, say this year they don't win the championship or whatever the case may be, how much value do you lose from? Because we was talking about the Bieber thing.
Significant.
So you go from not getting the pick. I don't think you would even get a pick at that point.
You would.
You're saying you get a pick, but say you only maybe get 2 players and one of them is a borderline starter.
I don't know. It's hard because we have to let this year play out.
Yeah.
What does this look like? Obviously, it goes back to baseball and the Bieber thing. The less control you have over a guy, the less the value is.
Right.
But I think that there would still be enough significant value. I want to see this one more time. I want to see this with Donovan and Darius again. That's why I've been saying this whole.
It's going to be tricky when they trade him anyway, because every other team knows he wants to play for the Knicks.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this year. There's a lot riding on this year.
Let's get to number 3.
I'm surprised you guys thought that Garland would bring back more than Mitchell, but we'll discuss that at the very end here.
Yeah.
Number 3, the top 3. I went with Jose Ramirez. He has an unbelievably team-friendly deal. He's only making $20 million per year, give or take.
You blew it here.
No, see, I disagree here. He signed through 2028.
No way Myles Garrett brings back more than Jose Ramirez. Comparatively in their sport, no way.
I think you would. I'll explain why when we're done here.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to give away if Garrett's 1 or 2 here. But I think a comparable deal to what you would get back for Jose Ramirez is what the Dodgers gave up for Mookie Betts to the Red Sox, which was Alex Verdugo, the number 1 prospect in their system, a center fielder whose name's I'm drawing a blank on right now, who was the number 6 prospect in their system, a major leaguer who's an average major leaguer, and then another top 30 prospect.
I think they get more because Jose is locked into the best contract in.
I do agree. It's the best contract in sports.
In sports. Arbitration contract in baseball.
I agree with that. It is the best contract in baseball.
Mookie Betts hadn't signed.
No, the Dodgers had to sign him to a large deal, which is why they probably didn't get even more.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The Guardians would get, I think, way more than the Red Sox got for the Red Sox got for Mookie
More
Betts.
than 2 elite prospects?
Yes, absolutely.
Jason G?
It comes down to what he said at the start is like, what are you valuing? How much value are you putting on an NFL first-round pick versus a baseball top prospect, which has a better hit rate?
Yeah, but like, for what do you think you're getting from Myles Garrett?
We'll get there in 1
You're
second.
not getting multiple
we'll get there.
picks.
Oh, yes, you are.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Multiple.
At this point,
We'll get there. We'll get there. So I had Jose at 3.
Don't steal the thunder. Don't do it.
We'll get there. So the top 2 comes down to, and don't take it, Steve, Evan Mobley and Myles Garrett. And I talked to Jason about this yesterday. I talked to Jay about this. I talked to Earl about this. I talked to Tyvis about this. And I talked to my 2 friends who are video coordinators in the NBA to try to get as many opinions on how to equally value what you'd get back for each player. I'm going to tell you what I think each player would get back, then I'll tell you who's number 2 and who's number 1. I think for Evan Mobley, you get about 70% of the Gobert/Kevin Durant trade return, which would be 3 first-round picks, a pick swap, and a starting caliber player, a young player you think could be a piece. I looked at the Khalil Mack trade as what you could get as a possible return on investment on Myles Garrett, which was 2 first-round picks and a mid-round pick. And at the end of the day, I went with Evan Mobley at number 2 and Myles Garrett at 3 because I do believe NFL first-round picks are the single most valuable asset in this entire project. 2 of those outweighs 3 first-round picks, and I don't love the young players.
I don't know how you
Mobley
can say
2
NFL picks
and
are
Myles
more
Garrett
valuable.
number 1.
I mean, they're all crapshoots.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier. I think NFL first-round picks are more valuable than NBA.
Does
because
it depend where they are?
Well, yeah, but that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
When you get past the top 5 in the NBA,
right.
the value
I
falls
just
off
don't know.
drastically. You could find a Hall of Famer. I mean, you could in the NBA too. But it's a lot easier at 22, 23, 24 who's going to find someone that's going to impact you right now and have a monster year. Whereas a lot of times NBA guys, 22, 23, 24
But
are
in the end, the
rotational
draft
pieces.
pick is a crapshoot no matter where
Absolutely
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
Just to give you context, like this year's NBA draft, it is a 3-player draft. Teams are upset they got the 4th pick.
The Khalil Mack trade was the Bears and Raiders, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Has any other defensive lineman, pass rusher, been traded for multiple first-round picks recently?
Bradley Chubb last year.
Got traded for multiple first-round picks?
Give me 1
Sure
second to
about that?
quadruple check. But
Well, if Bradley Chubb got traded for multiple first-round picks, then I'm wrong.
I think Miles 100% is bringing back.
I just think it's stupid to trade multiple first-round picks for the pass rusher.
Well,
But you just said it's a crapshoot.
Okay, so here's this. Let me ask you this.
Yeah, fair.
If you,
That's true.
hey, if you was, I look at it like this.
Yeah.
If you was the Dallas Cowboys and you said I'm going to get Myles Garrett, you have Michael Parsons, they're automatically
That's
Super
fair.
Bowl favorites.
I mean, if they traded for Bradley Chubb I just didn't think defensive linemen got traded
because
no matter how good they were for 2
Chubb was
first-round
only 1 first. It was 1 first and a third. I apologize.
I
picks.
feel like
now Myles Garrett's better than Bradley Chubb, a lot better.
if you wanted to really, I know defense can't win championships, right?
Yeah.
But listen, if you get Myles Garrett in like another top, like Myles Garrett and Michael Parsons is devastating. You can't get away from that. Like they would be automatically the team coming out of the NFC. You couldn't stop it.
I hear you, but if you're trading Myles, like think about it. If you're trading Myles Garrett for, even if you do get 2 first-round picks, if you got that, they'd be late first-round picks because it's only good teams that are going to make that trade. And no shitty team in the top 10 pick is making that trade.
And that's why I want their number 2 pick. I want a second-round pick too.
Okay, but I think
you get 2 first and a mid-round pick for Myles Garrett.
yeah, but they're 2 late firsts.
I'm just
So
to me it's a first-round pick. It's a first
So
round.
I
pick
actually would put Jose Ramirez 1,
I'd put Mobley 1. I think it's Mobley.
and I would put Mobley 2 and Garrett 3 for me.
I heard a little bit about how teams are coveting that Mobley pick even
Yeah.
before the draft, and he's lived up to it.
Yeah.
And I think teams look at Mobley and say he's on a team that's trying to win, so they haven't necessarily
Right.
developed his
We
full,
can develop his game and
a
make
little
him a
bit more.
superstar.
Yeah, I actually think it's Mobley number 1. In terms
I think
of,
the list is good overall. I mean, I think the only change I would make is I would have Triston McKenzie instead of Greg Newsome in the top 10.
Fair.
And I would change the order a little bit, but I mean, I think it's a good list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
G?
You did an excellent job with that project there, Mike.
I spent a lot of time last night doing it.
That was good.
A
I
lot
like
of time.
that. I mean, that was really good. I mean, I think to me, you undervalued the baseball guys a little bit, and I get it. One baseball player doesn't make the impact, but I think but you said you weren't factoring in that into your equation, and in my mind, I'm like, what could you get back? Like for Jose Ramirez, I think you can get back proven. Like I don't even think what they got from Mookie Betts is close to what you get for Ramirez. You're talking about a top 10 player in baseball.
So give me
plays
the return
infield
package.
and has the most team-friendly contract of any superstar
power,
in the game.
speed, Gold Glove caliber.
Right, there's
defensively.
no flaw in his game.
Yeah.
So give
He's
me
doesn't walk a lot, but
give me the return package. You think? I mean, and once again, this is total speculation for all these. Who knows what you
It's
get
also
back?
hard because are you trying to trade him for prospects? Or are you trying to trade him for
guys
if he's on the Red Sox and you're trading him, it's probably a different package that you're asking
back. That would be
That's what makes it
tricky.
hard.
But I think if you were trading him for prospects, and remember, yes, prospects, you're comparing prospects to draft picks. I don't think that's an apples-to-apples comparison. I mean,
I think you could say a top 5 prospect in an organization is a first-round pick.
But those guys have, at least they're playing professionally. They're not playing in the majors. And some of them may have major league experience.
If you get 3 of a team's top 5, and again, just because Baseball America ranks them doesn't mean the teams actually agree with the rankings.
Right.
But let's just use Baseball America. Or let's use Keith Law from The Athletic. The top 5, if you have 3 of the top 5, to me that's 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, and you would absolutely get three top 5 prospects for Jose Ramirez. 100%.
Yeah.
I think
because there's nothing, if you're another team, you're like, the guy's great. He's not old. He's got a great contract.
He's never in trouble.
He's never in trouble. He's never hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he has injury factored into his last season, but he's basically missed no time in his career. The only negative is that, you're 3-4 years away from him being where he starts getting a little older. But
prospects, I think prospects in baseball take so long to pay dividends.
But not really.
It depends.
Well, you're seeing more and more young guys come into the league and have an impact than ever before.
If you are a top 10 pick in the NFL, you're starting. It just is what it is. You're a starter. Like, even if you're a quarterback. Like, nowadays.
What do you mean? You're starting when?
If you get drafted in top 10 as a left tackle, you're a starter.
But doesn't mean you're good.
Well, I'm just saying that.
I mean, you're starting that year. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the Guardians, obviously they would never trade Jose, but in theory, if they traded Jose, they would get 3 prospects that are ready to play right away that might even be in the majors already.
Yeah.
Like, if you traded him to the Cardinals, let's say the Cardinals, like, you'd get Jordan Walker, who's their best prospect, who's already in the majors. He struggled early, and now he's played better since he came back. Like, if you traded him, I could go to any team and go to their best young player outside of a few guys. And, like, we could take him and then your 2 best prospects in AAA right now.
So the Cardinals are not realistic, obviously, because they have Nolan Arenado. They wouldn't do this. But
No, I know.
But hypothetically speaking, to use that. So Jordan Walker is their number one prospect in the organization, plays the outfield, MLB ready. Do you think you could get a Jordan Walker, Tyler O'Neill, and one of their top 3 pitching prospects in return?
I don't think that would be enough if I'm the Guardians.
Yeah.
For real?
100%. Again, if you look at every other superstar, there's a negative as to why not to trade for him. Aaron Judge, the contract's huge. Shohei Ohtani, I got to sign him to an extension. I could go for every other guy. There's no flaw in Jose. He's not old. He's got a great contract. He's got speed. He's got power. He's not elite at getting on base, but good enough. Great teammate, never injured. Like, there's no flaw whatsoever. And you got him locked up for the next whatever. What is it, 6 years?
5 years, I think.
Through 28.
Yeah. And so even in the last year of the contract, I think he's only going to be 33, 34 maybe.
It's not a Miggy contract. It's not a
No, it's not going to kill you. It's not taking
It's the best contract in baseball. So you said you would have Jose number 1, Bull.
I would have Jose 1, Mobley 2, Miles 3.
Jason,
but I think it's really close between
Jason,
those
what's
3.
your top 3?
I
want to hear your top 3.
I have Mobley 1 because he's on a rookie deal still.
Yeah.
And you've got controllable years of him for.
But Jose's so much
4 or 5
better
more years
right now than Mobley is in his sport. That's why I had him 1.
Well, yeah, right now he is, but I think Mobley, because of the contract situation and how team. Now again, he's got if he could shoot it better, I don't think it would be close. You could make a compelling case for Jose 1. I think it's close between Jose and Evan 1 and 2, and I probably would have Miles 3 on.
You
that
got
list.
Miles 1?
I got him 1. Because what I could do is, if you're a team, you got to think about it like this. Like, I already got my first-round pick. So now I got 2 first-round picks this year, 2 first-round picks next year.
Yeah.
And if I'm
the Browns don't have a first-round pick.
Well, I'm just saying, if they traded, like if you're a team, if I was a team, not necessarily the Browns, but if I'm trading him, I'm looking at it, in fact, in a vacuum, that if I do have my first-round pick, and I'm trading him, and I think you get another second, or you could get a third in 1 year.
By the way, I'm thinking about this now. I wouldn't even have Myles Garrett 3. Now that I think about it, I'd have him 4. I think Jason's right. I think you ultimately, if the Browns right now said, all right, Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett both on the block, I think they would ultimately get more for Watson than they would for Garrett.
No.
I think it'd be really close. because of the positions that they
Well,
play.
you
because
just said
the
Myles Garrett. You think they could get 3 firsts for Watson?
Well, I said 2, and maybe 3. I said for sure 2 and maybe.
But there's
3.
no maybe 3 with Myles Garrett.
No, it's 2. It's 2.
I
for
could get a
Myles.
2nd round pick. I
So
get
the
2
beau-
ones
the
and a
beauty
two.
I don't
this-
think they get 2 1s and a 2.
Yep.
The beauty of this is I have my list, and
Yeah.
we have 3 of y'all out there, and you guys all have a different number 1. Earl, what do you think, real quick? How would you do the top 3?
I think I would go Miles 3rd, Miles 3rd, Evan Mobley 2nd. I would go Deshaun Watson 1st.
So that's 4 different number 1
Deshaun
choices.
won.
How
mean, you
how
could
many
make that
ones?
argument.
How many ones are y'all saying you get for? You get 2 ones guaranteed. That's what the premise
For Watson.
For Watson.
Yeah. I'm not as convinced as you guys that you can get 2 1s from Myles. I might be crazy, but
I think you for sure get 2 1s.
I don't
I don't know who
For sure.
outside of what's his name? who
Well,
you
how many
mentioned?
of these guys become available in the prime of their careers? Like, there's
Never.
not much of a sample size for that. That's
Never.
why it's
That's
hard
fair.
to find.
So
comps.
Richard C. So going back, I looked up the biggest trade returns on defensive ends.
Yeah.
So Richard Seymour, this is 2009. So very different eras.
Nothing before the last 10 years to me matters. It's not
so
comparative.
then Jarrett Allen, yeah.
Offense means so much more now.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge track record.
It's only
Khalil Mack is the most comparable, and he was 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So
I get you're probably right. You probably would get 2, but
I don't think there's any debate. I think you for sure get 2 for Myles, and you're getting 2, and you're getting something else.
Yep.
Linebacker,
Yeah.
special
A
teams
player
guy,
if you want it.
mid-round pick.
I still think in the end you'd get more comparatively in their sport from Mobley and Ramirez and even Watson.
But here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you say, for instance, you got a defense, right? And you may think, guess what? My quarterback may not be top 10, but he's a top 15 guy. We've won with him, and you already got a really good defense or pieces and parts. Like, think about it. You bring Myles Garrett is so good defensively that you would bring up the play of your defense to a level where you could be a Super Bowl contender. Like, to me, the only way you could become a Super Bowl contender overnight is if you get a quarterback or a generational pass rusher. I think you can, even receiver to me is too hard to move the needle. Say, for instance, think about it like this.
I probably receive criticism for this. As much as I love Myles Garrett, he's not Aaron Donald.
But watch this. But if you got Aaron Donald,
Yeah.
and you go get Myles Garrett, it's crazy.
I don't know. If the Cowboys got Myles Garrett, are you changing your win total for them?
Yes.
By how much?
3 games.
2-3 games?
Bro, you got to. This is stackables. Like, that is a cheat code.
Come on now.
Have you seen?
You ain't changing their win total 2-3 games.
Why not?
For a defensive lineman?
Because you already got a star. Can you
I know
imagine
that,
how
but-
good? Can you imagine? Have you seen Michael Parsons play?
Of course I've seen him play.
That means you got the 2 best pass rushers in the game.
I know that, but I don't think Myles Garrett brings 2-3 wins to a team.
It depends
don't
on
see
what.
that.
It depends on what team he goes to. You telling me? Hold on.
I don't think any non-quarterback is worth 2-3 wins. Nobody, not even Aaron Donald.
Watch this. If you put him on the Pittsburgh Steelers, you telling me they don't go from 8 wins last year to 10?
I don't think so.
Come on, man. Come
I
on,
don't see
bro.
it. Why?
You put him? What do you mean? Why?
I think 3 is a stretch, but
You 2 wins.
I think 1.5.
If
to
Myles
2.
Garrett doesn't play in a game, does the point spread change?
No,
well, he didn't play
yeah,
in the one game
yeah.
last year against
Yeah.
I think it would
Atlanta.
change. I don't think it's going to change.
What's going to change?
drastically.
Half a point?
I
Probably.
think he changed a point last
Now,
year.
if a good quarterback doesn't play, it's worth a touchdown.
Sure, but
But it's
I
the-
still think over the course of a season, yeah, I still think he's worth. I'd say he's worth 1.5. I think he's worth 1.5 wins.
I don't know.
Man, that
I don't
is.
think any non-quarterback's worth
I-
1.5.
I-
I'm not sure about that.
I look at it. It's just not Myles Garrett by himself. I'm saying that if you take him and
No,
put
I
him
get-
on,
I get
if
it.
you put him with Chris Jones in Kansas City,
Yeah.
you're not blocking him. Good luck dropping
Yeah.
back. Good luck dropping back, throwing the ball 40 times a game because you can't guard both of those dudes. You cannot double team him. Like Chris Jones will either have 20 sacks or Myles Garrett gonna have
Yeah,
20.
but listen, I mean, there's a lot of good defensive lines. You're not getting to the quarterback every time.
But we talk about
And the game is so offensive based. I just
But
think
these are you guys think these are generational defensive ends. That's like saying I got Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White.
I don't agree with that. I don't think Myles Garrett's in that category. I think he's a level below those guys.
Well, he has more time to go, but if you talk about Myles Garrett is definitely a generational talent when it comes to defensive ends. He's big, he's fast,
I guess it depends how you define generational talent.
Well, he's a Hall of Fame talent, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Are we?
Yeah,
you think he's
Hall of Fame.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame.
A guy that comes in day one.
You think he's as good as Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White in that conversation?
I don't think he's. I mean, that's greatest of all time.
Right. He's not in that category.
I did a story on him a couple of years ago. He was on pace, like he was close to the Bruce Smith type career sack numbers. I haven't looked at it lately, but
it's not a fair comparison. They're
just saying,
throwing the ball way more now.
I'm
so
just
more
saying,
opportunity.
if you just look at the numbers, and I understand you can make numbers say whatever you want.
Yeah.
He was on pace a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He was stride for stride with some of the greatest.
Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
He has the 6th most sacks through 6 seasons ever.
I mean, I don't know how many defensive ends played since ever, but that's a lot.
Listen, Myles Garrett's a great player. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy and does this for a few more years. But
he's not on Reggie White's level.
Not on. He's on tier 2, which is still an incredible tier.
I was going to say,
yes.
I mean,
there's some pretty good players.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the best pass rushers in the game today.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has to me, Aaron Donald makes more impact than he's on a level, not anymore, but he was on a level by himself.
So we'll go there. If you put Aaron Donald on the same team as Myles Garrett, you're dead. You can't run, you can't pass.
I don't see it that way. But
Aaron
Donald is prime. Okay, I mean, listen, I don't think if the other guys around them are not that good as those guys are, they're going to make a huge impact. I agree with you.
Right.
But to make a difference of 3 wins, I just don't see it.
I think 3's high.
Three, okay. If you say hyperbole, but you give me 2 wins. You can give me 2 wins. That's worth 2 wins.
I'd say
I'm going
1.5.
one. I'm
I'd
going
say
1.5.
1.5.
I'll give you 1. And I think that's a lot, by the way, because I think for the most part, no non-quarterback is worth wins or more than 1 win.
If you got multiple people.
We got 2 more things we got to do today, and we are going to transition to the first of the 2. It was Father's Day on Sunday, so I know we mentioned off the top, but happy belated Father's Day to everyone out there. You guys keep killing it. And there's been some phenomenal father-son duos in the history of sports. So we went through. And I know we should have done this Friday beforehand. We're going to do it Tuesday on the way out. And do our top 5 father-son combos in the history of sports.
Now, I'm trying to, okay. I seen this.
No chance Mike gets this right, but let's go.
We're going to see.
He's too young to get it right, so
I dug deep on some of these. And we'll start with number 5. We'll start with some hockey. How about Mark and Gordie Howe?
Hockey on the list.
Gordie, 23-time All-Star, 4-time Stanley Cup champ. He won the Hart Trophy
they couldn't play
6 times, and he's a member of the Hall of Fame too.
That's a big
Mark
job.
wasn't his dad, also a Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star. Together, 35 All-Star appearances.
Just because we don't watch hockey doesn't mean they don't belong on the list.
Yeah, Bull. Bad job out of you.
Talk about hockey. You gotta only have sports that we talk about here.
I'm sorry, you're Hall of Famers. You don't count because we don't watch your sport. That's asinine.
Come on, let's go next.
It's fine to have them on the list.
No,
Well done.
No,
They did 35 between the 2. Number 4, Bull, close your ears because you're not going to like this one either. This is a choice for Earl. Earl, take the mic. Tell them why Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Senior are the 4th best father-son combo
We got
ever.
Dale Jr. and Dale Senior. Dale Senior is a 7-time Winston
Take
Cup
these
champion.
hillbillies off this
Over
list. What is
70
wrong?
career
What is going on
victories.
here?
Dale Jr. over 27 career victories. 2 Busch Series championships, man. Collectively, they have the most super speedway wins of any driver in NASCAR history. Shout out to the Earnhardts, man.
See what your acceptance of hockey is now done to this list?
You're a bigot. That's what you are. You're a bigot.
Coming up next, soccer.
I mean, geez, what do we got? The highlight, number 1?
Croquet.
I should have done this of all just things.
I hope you have a cricket tandem
No, I
on here
should.
next.
Bull will appreciate this next one. How about Bobby and Barry Bonds?
You've already
Barry,
blown it. That should be number 1.
obviously, maybe not obviously, but in my opinion, the greatest baseball player of all time, pre or post steroids, the home run king, 7-time MVP, 14-time All-Star. And Bobby, his dad, was just the second player in Major League history to hit 300 home runs, steal 300 bases. Those two both elite. And Barry.
You're gonna
So they should be number 1, and the hockey dudes were all Hall of Famers, and they shouldn't be on the list.
I'm just saying
they're all Hall of Famers.
There's
Jason,
more hockey guys
you're
coming,
missing
by the way.
point. Of course they're worthy of being on the list. My point is, I think Mike should have done a list of just the sports we talk about. That's my point. Not friggin' NASCAR. Go ahead.
Honorable mention, Clay Matthews Sr. and Clay Matthews Jr. Bring him back to Cleveland. There you go. All right, number 2.
Whoa, how is that? That's kind of high, bro. Like, wow, I'm thinking about that. Clay Matthews.
No, he's
honorable mention.
I mean, but I think they could. I think they could make the list.
No.
What you mean, no?
Go ahead.
Neither's a Hall of Famer.
Go ahead.
All right, number 2. This is a trio. They
Technically, neither Bonds is a Hall of Famer either.
Well, I guess that is fair. Yeah, you're right. But that's a joke.
I mean, stop it.
How about the Mannings
How would
here?
you put these guys ahead of the Bonds?
4 Super Bowl rings. Peyton, top 5 at the hardest position ever in sports.
Yeah.
There's
Archie
2 of
wasn't
them.
very good.
There's 2 of them, which gives them a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I know. Because Bobby Bonds is better than Archie.
Yeah, that's not close. Not close. But
and
to have 2 sons who will both
right.
be Hall
Fair.
of Fame quarterbacks,
Right.
4 Super Bowls altogether.
Yeah.
And because if it was just one son, probably not in the top 3.
Don't you think Peyton Manning winning only 2 Super Bowls is a disappointment?
No.
He should have won more.
He played against the greatest quarterback
That's right.
of all time.
That's right.
Head to head every single year. What are you talking about?
Should have beaten them more.
Wait a minute. You said there's more hockey to come?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, my God.
Who's your number 1? Like, how'd you leave the Griffies off?
Oh, that's true. I wasn't even thinking about the Griffins.
I thought that had to be
when I said Bonds.
Go ahead.
That's a good point. How do you leave the Griffies off?
Because the royalty of hockey. I watched one.
Dude,
I watched
I tried
one.
defending
You defended,
I tried
and this is
defending
what it
you.
got us. We got this NASCAR shit, and then we got 2 hockeys.
How do you not have
Knights.
Sabonis on there?
Not have who?
How do you not have Sabonis on there?
Or the Currys.
So Sabonis is the greatest European basketball
but
player
nobody
ever.
gives a shit about European
Hey,
basketball.
well, I mean, why don't you? That he's
The
a trailblazer.
disrespect.
No.
The disrespect that you guys are giving
He's a
Brett and Bobby
trailblazer.
Hull
What are you talking
is
about?
outrageous right now. Bobby Hull, one of the greatest hockey players to ever skate
I'll
this
give you
earth.
1 hockey, not 2.
10-time.
Mike,
10-time.
you can't. The list is for our show. We don't know these sports. We
But
don't
guess
know
what?
hockey and
Culture
NASCAR.
yourself, Bull. We have Canadian watchers. Shout
we
out
don't.
Cam.
Hey, listen, this is unacceptable.
Cam, no offense. Nobody gives a shit
Hey,
about hockey in
come
America.
on, hey,
Let's
listen,
stop.
and we're all look. Come on, man. You got
Together,
NASCAR.
they have
you
over
taking, the Griffies or the Bonds?
2,500 career
Griffies.
points, over 1,300 goals.
Although Bobby's
They're the
probably
royalty.
better than Ken
They're
Sr.
royalty.
Bobby was better
Close.
than
They're
Ken
both
Sr.
really good.
I thought Griffies were going to be
I would have the
number 1.
Bonds as 1. I would have the Griffies 2.
We are baseball apologists. you and
Yeah. I mean, I guess the Mannings do have 2 sons, but Archie Manning wasn't any good.
I would not have the Mannings on the list. I would not.
Bad job out of you.
Yeah, I would not. Because
Because
what did Archie do? It's
Right,
father's
that's true.
son. You don't get bonus points for 2 brothers.
You're
It's
right.
not the brothers list.
It's
It's
a great
father's
point.
son.
I'm with Jason on this. Manning's out. The dad, both parts of it have to at least be good.
Yeah.
And Archie was nothing.
Yeah. And
I got a question.
I'll
Carl's
give
got
you
a
1
question.
hockey, not 2. I'll even mind NASCAR. I ain't giving you 2 hockeys. I'll give
Thanks,
you 1.
Jason. I got a
Not
question
2.
though. I know like he's still in college, but is it too early to put Marvin Harrison and Marvin Harrison
That's
Jr. on the list?
embarrassing.
Yeah, you can't put them on the
That
list.
that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Now, come back to me in 10 years.
Earl, are you kidding me, Earl?
I'm so serious.
He hasn't played a game in the pros. Are you out of your mind?
Come back to me in 10 years and we'll have that conversation. Not right now.
I mean,
Not
this
right
is crazy, bro.
And by the way, there's nothing Marvin Harrison Jr. could do that would put him ahead of the Griffies or the Bonds.
No.
Nothing.
No.
He'd have to be better than Jerry Rice to even be.
Well,
to
Marvin
get there.
Harrison's a Hall of Famer. The dad, is he not? He's in the Hall of Fame.
Marvin
he's one of the
Harrison,
best ever.
comparatively in his sport, is not as good as Bonds or Griffey.
Bonds and Griffin.
But wait a minute.
No.
Marvin
Bonds
Harrison Sr. is a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
So if Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Is a Hall of Famer.
yeah.
Can they win?
Oh, if he's a Hall of Famer, fine. He hasn't played a game in the league.
I agree. That's why I said come back to me in 10 years.
Jason, Marvin Harrison, is he even a top 10 wide receiver of all time?
No.
Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds are 2 of the 10 best players ever.
Two of the top
But
5, in my opinion.
Is Marvin Harrison a Hall of Famer? Is he definitely a Hall of Famer?
Yes, he is.
Marvin Harrison Sr. is better than the dads we're talking about.
Okay, so
They're
you
better
I
than
see
the
what
dads.
you want.
But I was
So he has
I see
like,
what
but
you-
wait a second.
it's like Family Feud. He's got 185 points.
Yeah,
You're right.
Kid
right.
only needs
But
15.
I
That's
see what you-
fair.
I see what you
but
mean.
I was comparing the best of the pair.
Yeah. So you
And
were taking it.
comparatively,
Listen,
you would
Marvin-
agree that
Look what you've done, Earl.
Marvin Harrison Sr. is not in the same conversation with Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds.
So
I don't know. Marvin Harrison
no.
is way better than you're giving him credit for.
Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds are two of the top
10 best players ever.
I would say two of the top 5 ever to put a uniform on. What are you talking about?
You think Marvin Harris is not a top 10 player ever? Are you kidding me?
Did you say Bobby or Barry?
I'm talking about the Suns. Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds. Did I say Bobby?
I thought you said Bobby. Okay, Barry. Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds are top 10 players in the history of baseball. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you want to dismiss because of the steroids, you do it. I'm not.
All right, no. I got one more suggestion I may have missed.
Is Marvin Harrison Sr. a top 10 player in NFL history?
No.
He's not top 10.
Okay, so what's the conversation there?
But because
I was wrong to say there's nothing Marvin Harrison Jr. could ever do.
Yeah.
That was unfair.
Right.
But Marvin Harrison Sr. is not an all-time great to me.
So you saying Marvin Harrison Jr. got a lot of heavy lifting to get him over the two?
No, I disagree. He just has to be a Hall of Famer. That's all.
If he's a Hall of Famer, yes.
If he's all, yeah.
But that's a pretty big bar to be a Hall of Famer.
It is a pretty big bar. But
Well,
the way
he's
they
never
throw the
played the
ball,
game,
the way they
league.
throw the ball today, the numbers he could put up
Yeah,
theoretically.
but you're going to have to put up even bigger numbers because a lot of guys are going to put up those numbers.
All right, one more throw out there.
Yeah.
LeBron and
Well,
Bronny.
wait a second. Does Earl actually think Marvin Harrison Sr. is a good comparison for Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr.?
All I'm going to say is Marvin Harrison Sr. is absolutely 100% a top 10 wide receiver in NFL history.
Wide
of all
receiver is
time.
different
Okay,
than
I don't
all-time
think
player.
he is, but even if he is, he's not a top 10 player of all time, and those guys are. Right?
Is LeBron top 10 ever in basketball?
Of course.
So Bronny. Gotta talk about LeBron and Bronny here.
No.
Greatest high school player of all time. His dad's the best or second best NBA player of all time. I mean, this kid got a full ride through USC. That doesn't just
all
happen.
Bronny James got to do is win a 6th Man of the Year, and they got the best duo.
You left out the Currys.
Who? Seth? Seth's not that good.
No, Steph and Dell.
I know.
Dang, you did kind of leave them. That is kind of crazy, bro.
I don't know
But
that they
Dell
would
wasn't
be
good
top
enough.
By the way, you know it would be the family with the best 3 generations.
The Mannings.
Huh?
The Mannings. Arch? Are you kidding me?
He hasn't played in the league yet.
Arch, #1 prospect in the history of college
Irrelevant.
football?
Irrelevant.
Arch,
You know, I'm going to punch you both of you and Earl in the face. I'm going to punch you both in the face. You're just effing with me now. No, the best 3 generations are the
Boons.
The Boons.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bell. Nah, not the Bells. Boons would be better than
Gus, right? Gus Boone, Bob Boone, and Brett Boone.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone.
Or is it Gus Bell? I think
Aaron
we're
Boone.
confusing the Bells with the Boons.
The Bells and the Boone.
Okay, legit. We do have a read, and we got to get one more thing in. And this is serious. This is dope.
Okay.
Love you, Bull. I can't wait to shoot your Little League game tonight. DJ Hazmat released his new single.
Yeah.
And DJ Hazmat's our guy. Talked to him yesterday. I can't wait to play it. It's out there. If you haven't heard it, you'll hear it in a sec. But it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils today. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We're going to get Haz back on during the season with his weekly songs, but this was his
By the way,
schedule release
he
joint.
is a Baker Bro undercover. He is a Baker
I don't
Bro.
think he's undercover.
He's a recovering Baker Bro. We're going to see if he got a Deshaun Watson bar in here. I know he got one. Let's see.
This is DJ Hazmat on the Browns schedule release.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Home games on the Cleveland Browns schedule. What? What up? It's your dog Hazmat.
Hey, Haz.
Before I get started, gotta say rest in peace to the great Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, the GOAT.
Best to ever do it.
Salute.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We about to go on this 2023 schedule journey all the way to week 18.
Let's go.
I'm taking you up through the Browns schedule, all of the games, starting with the Jets in August at the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
We'll be down the road in Canton for that exhibition.
Yeah.
Then it's Commanders, Eagles, Chiefs preseason expeditions. Week 1, Bengals. Everybody think they so thorough, but I bet you didn't know we 4-1 versus Burrow in the Battle of Ohio since he and Chase were drafted, and we only took an L because Deshaun Watson was practicing. Week 2 in Pittsburgh Monday night. Get get your tickets, yeah. Miles ready to strike, cause he heard it was a picket there. And we ain't scared of Harris, Najee. I'm feeling confident. We'll smear the squealers all over Hinesfield. Condiment. Get it? Or you slow and need to catch up? Condiment. Week 3, more than Tennessee with a condiment. As we dominantly destroy a Titan for real. Whether D. Henry, Malik, Will Levis, or Tannehill. Week 4, bring Lamar and Baltimore to Cleveland. OBJ there too, that's all the more reason to give a Redbird Raven a dog pound beating. Take a bye week 5, come back still eating. Week 6, the 49ers gonna be the feast. Feed my dogs rice-a-roni San Francisco treats. Week 7, I bet we give the Colts a smackdown. Lay them to rest in Indy since they call it Nap Town. Week 8, we gon' offer Seahawk when we battle. Give 12 a nightmare, have them sleepless in Seattle. Week 9, back home for Lil Kyler and the Cardinals. Them angry birds gon' find our bite is worse than our barking though. Week 10, we off to Baltimore to make a statement. It's Dog Pound Nation, we don't flock with the Ravens. Week 11, we back home for Pittsburgh. Right before Thanksgiving, the ass whipping is getting served. Week 12, we don't give a damn about a bucking Bronco. Russell Wilson, Denver, or their new head honcho. Week 13, we at the LA Rams, yo. They bought a Super Bowl and now their team is in shambles. 14,
Jacksonville.
quarterback,
Trevor.
Should a Jaguar survive in a rabid dog pound?
Never.
15, this just in, I don't care. At home, better beat up on a Chicago Bear. And Houston, you have a problem. Week 16, the return of Deshaun Watson, your homecoming king. Week 17, Thursday night, I'm taking all bets. We'll fly higher than Aaron Rodgers and them Jets. They Super Bowl contenders, why? Cause Rodgers that bad man. Jets only fly at the bowl during the anthem. 18, we gon' finish right where we started. Beating Cincinnati, leaving Bungle fans broken hearted. Got talent at key positions, but for some strange reason, they believing in every team except for Cleveland this season. On par for the Browns hate, more of the same. In 23, we gon' make them put some respect on our name.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
He kills it.
He set it up. Listen, he had a Deshaun Watson diss again. I heard it in the second or third bar. He said he was practicing
Who
last
is
year.
more dying for Baker Mayfield to have a great season with Tampa? DJ Hazmat or Jay Crawford?
Oh no, Jay got a jersey.
I think Jay cut the strings on that. I think he.
Oh no! When he listen,
Jay is still.
If
he's holding on to it, I told you so.
It's by a straw.
Yeah.
But if he catches,
he's holding on to that.
That man, he gonna come in. He gonna have his clipboard ready. He gonna have a Gatorade, and he gonna be
I'm not saying he wants it to happen because I know Jay's a diehard Browns fan and wants him to win more than anything. Yeah. But if Watson sucks and Baker's great, he will bring that up.
I absolutely believe Baker's going to be a star. I do. I absolutely believe Baker will be a star.
No, you don't.
On Big Noon Kickoff in 2 years.
I was like, what?
I was looking at him.
You walked right into that. That was hook, line, and sinker. You walked right into that.
I was surprised by that. That was good. Yeah.
Like, he will be good on Big Noon Kickoff.
Will he?
Oh yeah.
I think he'll
TV personality, he would be great.
Because
I think he'll be kind of mediocre like a football player.
No, he'll be terrific.
No, he doesn't. He gonna be crazy. Because he'll actually say who he don't like.
That's true.
He's got personality.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he will be a star on TV.
Bull, real quick, coming out to your game tonight.
Yeah.
What do I need to be looking for?
What are we looking for?
No, give me just a little preview of what I should expect with the camera tonight.
Well, it's a big game tonight. We're playing Once Upon a Time Toys. We're trying to
y'all's names, bro.
We're trying to sweep the season series against them. We've beaten them 2 out of 2 games so far. We're trying to sweep them 3 games. I have stacked our lineup tonight, so you'll find out about that tonight. Overtime is next.
See you in a sec.
All right.